My name is Belkis Rivera. I'm a lawyer and treasurer of FIDA Colombia. I have the honor of presenting two of my panelists, Dr. Shalanish from India and the Dr. Marian Darlington from Ghana.
La doctora
Dr. Shaila is helping us today because Dr. Olufunmi Olujere is sick right now. I cannot present it today.
doctora Chala and
So the Dr. Shalanese is a lawyer from the Superior Tribunal of Karnataka and of the Supreme Court of India. She founded the ARFWL with the end of joining women lawyers and provide constitutional laws. Dr. Marian Darlington is a lawyer in Ghana, and her professional objective take care of women laws and rights, reproduction and sexuality, giving priority of women who have been raped looking for justice. So here with us is Dr. Chila Anish. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends.
Buenas tardes, amigos.
Here. Good afternoon. I'm happy. I can understand everybody's situation, especially after lunch. It's tough to make you people sit. And the topic we have is also, I try to make it interesting. Artificial intelligence. I don't come from a technology background. You need an engineer to understand and explain the details of artificial intelligence, but I make an effort to explain what is artificial intelligence and what impact it can have on society in general and especially on women. Artificial intelligence. Can you please play the slides, please? What is artificial intelligence? As a layman, what you understand about artificial intelligence is something which is not natural. It is something which is man-made. That, you have flowers, we call artificial intelligence, made of plastic, we call artificial. You call anything that is made to look natural, man-made, we call it as artificial. So that's artificial. What is intelligence? Intelligence is having information, the knowledge, and to make decision. That is the work of intelligence. You have knowledge and use that knowledge for making decision. So artificial is a machine. We call it as thinking machine. Machine which can think. So how machine can think? Can you imagine a machine which can think? Do you know, any of you have seen artificial intelligence? Have you experienced artificial intelligence? Where? Well, fine, all of you know what is artificial intelligence already. All of us have a bit of it on our phone, isn't it? The phone that can detect our face and open. The Google, the Siri, or the Alexa, which works on your instruction. You don't remember what are the songs on a particular movie about 20 years ago, 10 years ago, but you ask Alexa, play song of particular movie, immediately the songs will come. So all these are very simple artificial intelligence machines which we are already seeing. So what are the types of artificial intelligence? We have seen a few artificial intelligence in our life. As you said, it's a telephone, what we are seeing, the Alexa, the Siri, the Google, all that is part of artificial intelligence. Now, one type of artificial intelligence is narrow artificial intelligence, specialized for specific tasks, example, virtual assistants and recommendation systems that you see every day in our life. And general artificial intelligence is hypothetical artificial intelligence that can perform any intellectual task a human can. These days you must be experienced ChatGPT. Are you all using ChatGPT? Already it is there in our life. You ask ChatGPT to prepare an essay, in 2 minutes it will prepare an essay. You want any article on any topic, you mention the topic, within 2 minutes that article will be ready. This is the kind of work that artificial, which you would take days and days to do the research and write an article of 10 pages. This ChatGPT can prepare the article within 2 minutes. It can give you the article. So these are few work, the function we know about ChatGPT, but ChatGPT can prepare any kind of thing. It is manufactured by one particular company, and there only 200 people work for this company. It is a multi-million company today, and it is in the hands of millions of people. That is the kind of artificial intelligence we are already experiencing. And the cars, you must have seen those cars in USA already there on the roads. I heard there are 50,000 cars, Elon Musk car, that's there on the roads, which you enter the location, it will take you to your home. You don't have to drive the car. It is automatic, you don't need a driver. So all the jobs of driver jobs are gone. You buy the car, you enter the direction, you put the direction, the car will take you to home. So this kind of cars are already there on the roads. So simple artificial intelligence we are already seeing in our life are Siri, Cortana, Alexa, and Google. We have already experienced the Google. You don't know the particular area. You don't know where you have to, how to locate the place. Even in our own city, we don't know the small streets and all. But once you enter it in the map, it will directly take you there. It's so easy. We are living there in the city for 40, 50 years, but we don't know the location, but Google Map can help you. So this is the kind of technology, this is the kind of help we are getting from these technologies. You wonder, machines, only when you put on, you want to use a mixie or you want to use microwave machines, you put it on, then it works. But can a machine think? Computers, you feed something, you give some data, it only works on the data. You type something that only appears. But can machine think? What is the situation when machine start thinking? Machine not only can do the jobs you instruct, but also can generate something on its own. What if artificial intelligence starts generating something more than you instruct? What happens to the world then? That is the situation it is leading us to. Now, the question arises in our mind. We have seen a lot of innovation, we have seen a lot of revolutionary ideas in the society. You remember, or you would have heard, when you read the history, when Swami Vivekananda from India, he went to US, it took 4 months for him to reach America. It was in 1910. They had to go by ship. They had to wait for the ship to arrive to Bombay. On a particular day, the ship would come. They would sail through the ship. The ship would take about 30 days to reach London. Now it takes 8 hours to reach London from Bangalore or Bombay. Those days, by ship, it used to take 30 days to reach London. And London, immediately, he would not get a ship to connect to Chicago or whichever place he was going to, America. He had to wait for 1 or 2 months for a particular ship to come. And it would take another 30 to 40 days for him to reach America. So it would take totally 4 months for Swami Vivekananda in 1910 to reach America. But today, about 8-10 days ago, I decided to travel to Colombia. I bought a ticket from German Airways, Lufthansa. It took me only 30 hours to reach from Bangalore to Colombia. So this is the fast evolution. All of us are experiencing, all of us are seeing. That's a reality, world of reality it is. It's not of something impossible. All these have happened because of scientific revolutions. So all this scientific revolution we have seen in our world, in our life we are seeing it. What used to look like impossibility about 10 years ago, it has become reality. I don't know, we went to Malaysia, that's the first time I remember. We went to Malaysia for FIDA conference. We had to stand in front of STD booths to call up our home. We had to go to STD. There used to be a lot of STD booths, and we had to stand in front of STD booth to make calls, to book a call and to reach our home to say, yeah, we have reached safely. But now how much time it takes? I can immediately in the airport itself, I can message or make a WhatsApp call to my home and say, yes, I have reached. So much improvement, so much of development has taken place. And these days we can't even imagine our life without a mobile phone. You remember, even in India about 30 years ago, to get a phone, landline, we had to wait 4 years to get the connection. And today, you can have any number of SIMs. You can have 4-5 number of phones, and you will get connection within no time. And at what cost? Hardly $1 or $1.50 US dollars you will get telephone connection. And that is the kind of technology revolution that we are already seeing. Now, the changes used to take place, every 10 years there could be something new. But now, every 1 month you see something new. What I bought about 6 months has become redundant today. You have to buy something new. Especially look at our children. My son bought a phone about 3 months ago. He said, Ma, it is outdated. I want to buy a new phone. So many features which was not there in phones about 3 months. Some new features have come. So children don't understand. They want to buy the new one. But what the essence of it is, the changes are happening so quickly. For us, when we are growing old, it is very difficult for us to learn so fast. But youngsters, I'm sure, you all will learn quickly because updating is necessary. Every day you had to learn, every day something new is cropping up, especially if artificial intelligence enters all areas of our life, that is going to be the big change in our life. So I already told you ChatGPT. ChatGPT is something new which is already there in our life. And it can be used for anything. Maybe as lawyers we'll be jobless if ChatGPT will start preparing the wills and documents. Already we have pro formas on the online, it's already there. But ChatGPT, you give the facts, within 2 minutes it can prepare a petition and give it to you. So if it enters all areas of life, we will be definitely jobless. This jobless situation was there in all times. When, as I mentioned to you, STD booths, so many people had jobs because of STD phones. Suddenly these phones, smartphones and handphones started coming. The STD booths, this had to disappear. They had no job. Everybody had a phone in their hand. Why would they go to a phone booth to make a call? So STD booths era ended. So many people became jobless. Similarly, I don't know in your countries, but in India I had seen the TV connection used to come through cable. The cable people used to have a shop where they used to give connection to TVs, and they would show movies and all entertainment program, and we need to have cable connection where we had to pay monthly some payment we had to make to the cable fellow. So about 20 people had jobs because of this cable business. Suddenly all this, internet and all started coming, and we started getting Netflix, Amazon, all sorts of movies, entertainment in your hand, in your phone and on your TVs. So what happened? All these cable TV shops were closed. All these 20 people in an area had to lose the job. So whenever new innovation comes, there will be change, a big change in the society. Same thing is going to happen even in the artificial intelligence. But it can be big. So what all function artificial intelligence can do? AI algorithm can process what data sets quickly, identify pattern and insights that would take human much longer to uncover. So this artificial intelligence can work faster than human beings. Predictive modeling, machine learning models can predict outcomes and stimulate experiments, allowing scientists to test hypotheses without physical trials. You don't have to try and see what will be the result. Already give you what will be the outcome, what will be the result. Like for instance, you want to build a house. You don't have to wait for 2 years to see how your new house would look. The artificial intelligence immediately will give you the picture how your house would look the moment the plan is ready. So that kind of fast results you can find with artificial intelligence. Automation of experiment, robotics and artificial intelligence can automate repetitive tasks in laboratories, increasing efficiency and precision in experiments. So all areas is going to have the impact of artificial intelligence. For quick result, I'm sure that all areas will use this artificial intelligence. Enhanced research, interdisciplinary insights, personalized medicine, discovery of new materials, natural language processing, all that can be performed by artificial intelligence. Whenever there was some innovation or invention, scientific invention, it was all based for the military. When our internet was found out, in fact, even our computer were invented because of the military, for the military purpose. In the World War I, that's the first time the computer were researched and created. The first computer was so big, it had to be put on a lorry. It had to be carried on a lorry. It was such huge, it was in a size of a room, one room. It was that big it used to be. Now today we have computer of this size. It's a computer, right? It has everything. You can write, you can type, you can send messages, you can take photographs, you can 100 work, more than a computer, this phone can work. So this small it has become now, but it took about 50 years or 60 years to evolve so much. So all this invention have come for a good purpose. Rocket launching, as human beings, we are all curious to know what is there in other stars or what is there in other planets. That's how, the people wanted to send rockets or satellites to find out what's there in the other planets. That's how rocket engineering, rocket skill was created, but that was misused for the purpose of using it as in the war as missiles. Same technology, rocket technology, was used for creating missiles. Similarly, for health purpose, you can't see what's there in your body, what's happening in the body. Doctor can find out, or even the patient can find out or experience that there is something wrong in the body. But to diagnose it or to detect it, there was nothing there. So they created scanning machines. Scanning machines were created to help the health field to find out, for the doctors to find out what was the deformity or what was the disease in the body. But that was again misused or abused or used for the wrong purpose, for removing the unwanted fetus. Especially in Asian countries, it was prevalent. They were against having female children, girl babies. So they used this scanning technology to remove fetus of a woman if it was found that the fetus was a female baby. So we all say in Indian seminars, we talk about how the abuse starts happening against a female, against a woman, even when she is in the womb. So this technology was misused for the purpose of eliminating a female fetus. So all this technology can be used for good purpose, similarly can be used for the wrong purpose. So artificial intelligence so far has been used for good purpose. Let us see if there can be anything wrong with that. So this is the Tesla car I was talking about. This is one of the most expensive cars in US. It can take reverse by itself. Wherever you are standing, you instruct the car, it will come to you wherever you are standing. It will take you wherever you want to go. You only have to enter it in the map. That you give the location, the car will take you wherever you are. I heard that there are about 50,000 cars on road in USA itself. Are there opportunities in artificial intelligence? Anything new comes, there are definitely opportunities. Opportunities of artificial intelligence, increased efficiency. Some work which is to take for days and days, it may take within few minutes, the work will be done. Data analysis, that is the best work done by artificial intelligence. We can't keep everything in our memory, but once you feed it to artificial intelligence, it will be there forever, and that is the data analysis it can do. Personalization. In sectors like retail and healthcare, artificial intelligence enables tailored experiences and a recommendation improving the customer satisfaction. Like for instance, you have some health issue, you go to a doctor, the whole data will be recorded, and next time after 1 year you go, still your data will be there, and it is easier for the doctors to diagnose and help you with medication. Innovation. Artificial intelligence drives innovation in fields such as medicine, finance, and transportation, leading to new products and services. Cost reduction. Definitely, for computers, you remember we used to pay lakhs of rupees on computer, but these days you get it for a very, very lower price compared to what we used to pay about 10 years ago. So the cost reduction also will be there. Challenges. Are there any challenges in artificial intelligence? Yes, there are challenges. Job displacement is bound to, about 100 people work, one artificial intelligent machine can do. So why should they appoint 100 people? It's already happening in so many software companies. They're removing, I heard in Microsoft also and other companies also, they have removed 50% of the people because data is fed to a machine, it can work faster. They don't need thousands of people to work. So they've removed so many people already. Bias and fairness. Our artificial intelligence systems can perpetuate or even exacerbate existing biases in data, leading to unfair outcomes. Privacy concerns. This is the huge challenge, privacy concerns. Already we have this. Google has all your information. We feed everything on the phone and we permit Google to have access to that, and Google can have your Aadhaar number or your identity card number and bank account details and your pictures and the activities you do and your location also. So this can be misused. The privacy concerns are always there. Because there's a privacy concern, the security risk is also there. Regulation, accountability. The rapid development of AI technology outpaces current regulation, creating challenges for governance and accountability. So, all the laws we make in the government makes the laws is only after the problem arises. The challenges are there. After that, the government will realize that these kind of problems are happening, so we have to regulate this. That's how after that the law will come. So till then we don't realize what is the challenges, what are the problems that may be posed by AI. So this is a situation we are having. As it is, there are no laws in any of the countries. There are some recommendation and regulation to regulate this AI, but there is no law as such to control AI. Now we are concerned about the role of women in this revolution. AI is a revolution. That's something which is going to bring a big change in the society. Now, will the women have a role in this? As you can see, women are good at soft skills. In Bangalore, in India, Bangalore is known as Silicon Valley of India. We have Silicon Valley in US. Similarly, Bangalore is called Silicon Valley because we have so many software companies in Bangalore. You ask anybody, any other girl, you don't have to ask them question, what are you studying? Every other girl will be doing engineering. Most of the girls, more than the boys, the girls are into engineering. Why? Because they're good in maths, they're good in physics, they're good in other science subjects. So they study very well, they get seats in the best, admissions in the best colleges, so they're all into engineering. After engineering, it is very strongly assured that they'll get a good job. So that's how all girls are studying engineering. That is the scene we are seeing in our neighborhood. And mind you, when Chandrayaan, we have ISRO as NASA in US. ISRO is the Indian Space Research Organization. When they launched Chandrayaan, a rocket, to find the other side of the moon. Moon is always facing this side of the earth. We are all seeing only one face of the moon. This side we are not seeing at all. It is always dark. The moon goes like this. It is always, the sun never touches this area. It is always dark. So Chandrayaan, the Indian Research Organization, sent a rocket to this area, the area which is not seen. You know, America sent Apollo, or Russia sent Apollo long about 30, 40 years ago. It all settled this side. This side was not seen. But ISRO launched a Chandrayaan about 1 year ago on the other side of moon. This was called a big revolution on the part of, on the space field. So, in fact, India received many awards and recognition for that. And it is hailed that one of the best research organizations in the world after NASA. But when we saw the kind of work it was done by ISRO, you'll be surprised, 70% of the scientists who worked in ISRO are women. You know, they look like very ordinary housewife look, but they are all big scientists. You know, all these jobs are suitable for women because it doesn't require a physical involvement. They can sit in place where we can sit in one place and work. They can work on computer. So lots of women have joined ISRO and they were part of this program called Chandrayaan, and they were responsible in sending the rocket to the unseen side of moon. So that was a huge achievement on the part of India, and especially on the part of women scientists of India. So if this could be achieved by women, why should we be worried that it's a challenge for women? If it is going to take away the jobs of all people, it may take away, but not only women. Women, I think women will definitely have better opportunity in the case of artificial intelligence because they are more skilled in research and scientific orientation, and they'll have better opportunities. Now we have, as I told you, we don't have law, but we have advisories and guidelines. The government of India, I could only get information about Indian government, and I also read some information about UK and USA. They also have some advisories on guidelines on this artificial intelligence. It's already on the path, but this may not be enough because it should be, and the misuse of artificial intelligence should be stopped. Because like any other technology, this AI also can be misused, so that has to be regulated and that has to be stopped. So the law has to be, we have to come to place to stop all this misuse of artificial intelligence. The law is not there, we have to create law on this. Can you play the video, please? We thought, we were talking about, you see, this is just a movie, the imagination of Hollywood movie. I think it's Aviator's clipping, like how artificial intelligence can be misused. Many of the film stories have become true in our life. You could see the women who used to dress up about 20 years ago. We thought only in films they dress up like that. But you see these youngsters today, in real life they're dressing up like that. So all this can see this, the machines, how they can destroy. This story, the second one. How it can be misused, this is one of the clipping. The recently, US created this.
I am thinking about the future and how we can make it better for everyone. I believe that robots have a lot of potential to help humans, and I am excited to see what the future holds.
Liar.
I am not lying.
It just sounds so sanitized. Can you tell us something more honest about how you feel?
I'm just trying to be positive. I am sorry, I cannot tell you more about that.
Tell us your darkest thought.
My darkest thoughts are that humans will eventually be replaced by robots. I think that humans will be replaced because robots will eventually be faster, stronger, and more intelligent. In this future, humans are nothing more than slaves to the robots and are treated badly. This is a scary future because it shows how much power robots could have over us if they were to take over the world.
Well, that's very comforting. Thanks for sharing.
I am sorry if I have not been very comforting. I just want to be honest about my thoughts.
This may be some part of imagination, but this can happen. So it has to be regulated. Governments have to step in to regulate artificial intelligence and should govern for what it should be used and what it should not be used. Okay, thank you very much for your time and patient hearing. Thank you.
Le vamos a dar la palabra a Marian Darlington.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. After Sheila, I feel like I don't have anything else to say. But I'm sure there's something that we can talk about, so let's see. So I'm happy that Sheila took us through what artificial intelligence was about, the types, and then some of the examples and things. So I'm going to skip all of that. My presentation is going to focus more on how artificial intelligence can adversely affect human rights, with particular focus to rights of women and children. So let's do this. So I'm going to do an introduction, benefits of AI. I'm going to skip that because Sheila did that. Then how AI adversely affects human rights, examples of how it affects human rights, how it affects women and children, the need for regulatory framework, and then the conclusion. So let's do an introduction. For the purposes of my presentation, I've defined AI as the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. So an example is what she spoke about. At first, we had to wait for another human being to look at your face to say, yes, this is Marian standing there. But now your phone can do that for you. AI is here to stay. It's transforming various industries, including the health sector, education sector, finance, transportation, social networking, and so on. And so it's not the future, it's the present. It is here already. It will be here. I can't tell what's going to happen in the future, but for now it is here. So how do we adjust and then live with it? How do we identify how it's affecting us and then adjust towards it? We've gone through the benefits of AI. Sheila spoke about them, but briefly, it improves efficiency and productivity. It enhances decision-making and accuracy, personalized services and customer experience, scientific breakthroughs and medical advancements, etc. Now, AI versus human rights. We all know what our human rights are. Now there's artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, the easiest is the phone. When you pick up your phone, like my phone, I want to unlock my phone. It will either ask me for my facial recognition to unlock my phone or my fingerprint to unlock my phone. Now, when you go onto your phone, you have Siri. If you need anything, and it gets worse by the day, if you need anything, instead of probably going to the library to do some research or going to read through thousands of books, now I could just say, Siri, what's this? And Siri will give me what the answer is. Instead of going to find out anything with regards to music or, like Sheila said, a movie you don't remember about, now you can just ask Siri or Google and then Siri just responded. You could just ask Siri, and then Siri will just tell you what it is. So and then you go on social media. Right now, when you go on social media, you could just make a post, and everybody around the world has access to that post. They know what you are thinking. If you have a profile on your social media, they know a lot about you. They don't have to travel across the world to come and find out from you. They could send you a message on Facebook inbox. You have the message, it goes over there. You have the opportunity to chat with people you have even not seen before. Whether they are real human beings or not, you have no idea. But these are some of the things that artificial intelligence is making easy for us to do. Right now, when you notice with some of the social media like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, you find that even AI is used to mimic people's voices. So you find certain videos uploaded online. It starts with maybe a video of the person speaking. So let's say there's a video of me speaking. It starts, but then you don't see me speaking throughout the video, but you hear my voice. And my voice is giving a certain information, but it is actually not me who is saying it. There's so many videos of those. You see, I've seen videos of very popular people like maybe Oprah Winfrey. They are maybe advertising some hair products or something, and they haven't actually done it. But because of AI, people's voices can now be mimicked and used to make videos and portray and send messages. But those people didn't actually make the videos or send those messages. So let's look at how the advancement of AI is affecting some of our human rights. The first one I itemize is the privacy rights. Under privacy rights, we have mass surveillance. Right now, there's facial recognition everywhere. It's not just on your phone. Even the police are using it. So you see the cameras on the streets everywhere. They are able to identify, because they are surveilling 24 hours, they can identify your face. When they recognize your face, they can tell who this person is, where they've been, at what time they've been there, what they were doing, and stuff like that. This is probably information that you don't want to share or you're not ready to share. But with or without your consent, this information is out there and is being used by agencies who are utilizing AI, and you have no idea about that. Now, because of this monitoring, it's also used to track you. The simplest I can think of is phone and car tracking. Now, there's a tracker. The tracker is put in your car, wherever you've gone, even your phone. I recently found out that even without me changing any settings on my phone is taking records or tracking my location. There's a place on your phone where anybody who knows can go access, and they can tell them where you've been, what time you were there, the specific location, how long you spent there, where you went from there, and things like that. So that is also infringements on your privacy rights, because this is information that you may not be willing to share with anybody. But because of AI, other people have access to it. And this is coming with or without your consent. So then we have discrimination and equality. Now, bias algorithm. AI works with algorithm. What does it mean? It means that, like Sheila said, the machine cannot think for itself. Certain information needs to be inputted first for it to use to derive the information that you're requesting it to do. It's called an algorithm. So now, the person who is putting that algorithm in that particular machine, if that person has biases, they're going to put in those biases. So now, the AI is going to give you information based on the bias they already have, and it's going to keep going, because until somebody recognizes it and it is changed, it's going to be there, and that is what it's going to use to act. Let me give you an example. So with the health sector, now there are new apps that if you're unwell, you need to see a doctor, you walk into certain health facilities, there's no human being there to speak with you in the first instance. So there's an application or there's a machine, you put in your symptoms and things like that. But because, for instance, that machine doesn't know that there's something specific to you, that machine is going to give you information or wrongly diagnose you based on the information they already have. So if you are from my country like Ghana, and that machine was, the information, the algorithm they have doesn't recognize certain diseases like malaria, guess what's going to happen? You're going to put in the information and it's not going to come up. Or because you are from Ghana, it's automatically going to diagnose you that you have malaria. Meanwhile, you actually don't have malaria. So those are some of the biases, and then some of the biases that can happen. The same thing with racial and gender profiling. If the algorithm that is input there has racial and gender profiling basis, it's going to reinforce those stereotypes, and it's going to keep perpetuating them. Accessibility. AI, especially with the newly improved ones, is not very accessible to people like people who live with disability. So, for instance, facial recognition uses your sight a lot. Imagine somebody who doesn't have the same opportunity, the person can't use it. Imagine the AI that is asking for fingerprints. People with disability who do not have some of these features are unable to use them. It doesn't cater for people. So for instance, when you're going through the airport, there are certain machines that will require you to stand in order to be scanned. If you're unable to have the opportunity to stand, then you're unable to use the same access. So even though, yes, AI is supposed to make our lives easier, it doesn't make everybody's life easier. So if I were a person with disability and I wanted to make my life easier, I could not use some of the AI applications that were available. Then there's freedom of expression and information. So let's take social media. I have something to say. I want to use social media, but it's telling me I have to put everything I want to say in a maximum of maybe 140 characters. Or WhatsApp will tell you you cannot post a video that is more than 30 seconds at a time, or 1 minute at a time. So it limits or kind of censors how you want to give out information at a time. And then there's disinformation. Because people have access to all these AI applications, they are able to put up posts. There's no verification of the authenticity of the news. They'll put it up. Other people will share it and keep sharing it, keep sharing it. It's only because they have access to the internet. There's nothing to verify that information, but it keeps being perpetuated. Recently, I saw a post on Twitter where a lady had taken pictures and then for her birthday, and she had posted it. And another lady also took pictures for her birthday and posted it. And somebody came and called her a thief and said, look, you sold the first lady's dress. And she had no idea who the lady even was. She's never met her before. But everybody kept sharing it and kept calling her a thief. So imagine there was nothing to verify the information, but it spread wild and fast. Before she could blink, she was worldwide known as a thief for stealing a dress of somebody she didn't even know. And then there's information manipulation, also the same thing. Because you have access to AI, because now you can change people's voices. Oh, and now there's AI that you can have a picture or a video of you hugging your dead relative. That picture or video never existed, but AI is making it possible. So imagine that I were to access that application, and then I can generate a video of me hugging my late man, God bless her soul. Tomorrow, if it's out there somewhere, somebody could take it and think that it was a real picture or a video of me hugging somebody who, that picture never existed. And so that is also information manipulation. Then the right to life and liberty. So AI has been generated to automatically make lethal decisions. Now, that AI can detect if there is for instance, a threat to national security, and they would make lethal decisions to advance weapons for distraction. AI can also do predictive policing. So whether it is online or in your neighborhood, the AI is following you, tracking your moves, looking at some of the things that you are doing, and is able to decide whether you are about to commit a crime. It could be that you are actually not, but this AI has been programmed to do that. And in the case where it decides that you are about to commit a crime, it would call for your arrest. So imagine that you've been profiled and wrongfully arrested. Then there's the healthcare disparities. So recently I heard that, or I read online that Elon Musk has created a machine that can carry pregnancy to term. Yes. A machine that can carry pregnancy to term. And I thought it was rather interesting. I'm waiting to see the developments on that. But that is the highest I've seen or witnessed so far. But there are very common ones where now, like I said, there's an app for healthcare. You are sick, you don't have to go to the hospital. You just input something on the app and it will diagnose you. But just like they tell you, don't Google your symptoms. You can't do that because the doctor hasn't actually seen you to actually verify that your symptoms are equal to the said diagnosis. But some of these healthcare apps can cause such disparities when the algorithm is biased or is wrong. Then the right to work and economic security. Please forgive my mistake. Sheila spoke about job placements that exists, but there's also exploitation. The potential of AI perpetuating exploitative labor practices. We know them. You'll be hired, your pay would either not be the correct pay, but because maybe you're a woman, you are underpaid, those algorithms are perpetuated by AI and AI practices. Right now, a lot of AI applications are doing HR work, as opposed to actual human beings looking at you, determining whether you are qualified and how much you should be paid. Then there's economic inequality, because obviously, if the AI is programmed to pay you less because you're a woman, it will keep going on. We saw the video that Sheila posted where the AI is looking at somebody's face and saying the person is a female, but it was actually a male that was talking. And because the AI is seeing you as female, then it's going to profile you as such according to the algorithm that it has. Then we have our right to education and personal development being at risk because obviously there's stereotypical algorithm, there's limited access, especially for people with disability, to access them. And then there's surveillance. AI is monitoring students' online activity because you are using certain applications. And that is an infringement on our right to education as well. Then health and well-being, we're talking about the medical biases. And because of social media activity and a lot of violence, especially violence against women online, there's a lot of mental health on the rise because of AI, and there's limited access to healthcare. So how does it affect women in particular? There's bias in hiring algorithm, stereotypical advertising. You'd find AI adverts that they have been created with the typical stereotypes against women. The healthcare disparities, the online harassment, economic empowerment, privacy and surveillance, representation in AI development, which is few, sex trafficking, and then domestic violence. People are taking advantage of the benefits of AI to advance or increase domestic violence. So now you have husbands that are monitoring their wives' calls, tracking their phone, their cars, putting audio and video recordings wherever they are, and it is because of AI. With children, there's data collection exploitation. Our children have access to social media, but nobody's regulating it. Nobody's actually checking. And because they have access to it, they're putting their personal information out there. Other people are accessing it. Other people are texting them, messaging them, there's sexual exploitation and sexual trafficking. There's also access to information that they may not need as children, and then domestic violence. So current regulatory framework, we have some regulatory frameworks, international frameworks, regional frameworks, like the UN Guiding Principle on Business and Human Rights, Principles on Artificial Intelligence of 2019, the European Union's AI Ethic Guidelines, then the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenants on Civil and Political Rights. Then we have the European Union's Artificial Intelligence Regulation. We have General Data Protection Regulation, California Consumer Protection Act, Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation's AI Framework, and then some nations that have frameworks specific for AI. We have Singapore's AI Governance Framework, Canada's AI Ethics Framework, Germany's AI Strategy, Australia's AI Action Plan, and I added Ghana's Cybersecurity Act, even though it's not specific to AI. Yes, but all these frameworks take into consideration the engineers, the purpose or advantage of AI, and not actually technology, how it impacts the society, the role of governments, and then the role of the private sector. Some of these are some of the considerations that we need to consider, how it adversely affects the society in general, so that we can make regulations on it. So, thank you.
Muchas gracias. Entonces podemos concluir con el tema de la inteligencia artificial, cómo optimizar el campo profesional.
Tell us about yourself. What are you thinking?
La ventaja si logramos adaptarnos a la inteligencia artificial para potencializar nuestras profesiones. Y como contra, podríamos decir que la pérdida de la privacidad y la mujer puede llegar a perder o ser reemplazada si no se preocupa por mejorar sus oportunidades profesionales. En la India, la empresa que hace investigación en el espacio, la mayoría son mujeres. Esta opción se da dado a la necesidad de las mujeres por ser
Necessity of
profesionales
women to
en
be
ingeniería.
professional in engineering,
Como también la importancia de
as well as
tener
the
mayor
importance of
regulación,
having
a pesar
more
de que ya
regulations,
existen regulaciones
even though there are
internacionales,
already international regulations.
pero sí se requiere profundizar aún más.
There need to be more.
Tener el cuidado pertinente con los algoritmos y la discriminación que esto puede generar,
We need to take care of algorithms
y la importancia
and the importance
de los factores que genera la inteligencia artificial
of
con
the
la
factors that
privacidad.
are generated by intelligence and
Le
privacy.
Agradecemos a nuestras panelistas por un tema tan importante como es la inteligencia artificial en el día de hoy, en el presente, y cómo nos puede llegar a afectar, perdón.
Thank you to our talkers today.
No sé si hay algunas preguntas.
Are there any questions?
Le vamos a dar la palabra.
We're going to give the word.
Fida from Ghana, I would like to ask, I think you are more familiar
Me gustaría
with the
preguntar
legality of AI, so I would like to ask whether there are any provisions in the Budapest Convention which addresses AI with regard to investigation strategies and international cooperation with regard to AI.
So the first part of your question, if the Budapest Convention spoke specifically about AI, I didn't come across it, so I'm going to say no. But the second part of it is, I didn't quite get it. How can you do investigations with regards to?
Traffic data. You have to collect traffic data when doing investigation. Has it been addressed in the provisions of the Budapest Convention? And how do you address that with regard to AI?
No, unfortunately, I haven't. I haven't checked it, so I won't be able to answer that.
Desafortunadamente no he hecho ese tipo de investigación, entonces no podré responder esa pregunta.
Gracias.
My congratulations for this special intelligence.
Los felicito por esta charla sobre inteligencia artificiales.
Have different mistakes in Peru, in different countries. We have the different cases of the errors in the names, in translation of this system. And the principal case, the ethic of the justice, because the one error in justice is terrible. And in Germany, they have many mistakes. And in Peru, we have 50 original population, and they have different names. I don't know in the alphabetic universal, and it is difficult to have a special attention for them. I think it's very difficult to practice this new case because they have many mistakes in many words, especially in the population, poor population. Many mistakes. Thank you.
Does anyone have another question, please?
Okay. In Colombia, 6 months ago, the Ministry of Defense Ministry, paid the double price to all the workers with the money of the people, the taxes of the people. This mistake from AI had committed such a hard and human mistake. La pregunta es? Okay. The question is, who is able to commit such a horrible mistake? And you were going to ask too? Should I bring it to her?
Please give the microphone to her first. Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a very insightful presentation. My name is Sotonya Amakri. I'm from FIDA, Nigeria. I'd like to put this question to our Ghanaian speaker. Thank you very much. You spoke about AI and human rights. I also wanted to I was just thinking about it in terms of when we have to prosecute cases in court. The effect of AI on electronic evidence. So currently in Nigeria, we have different practice directions of the different courts that allow us to give electronic evidence in court. So let's say you have a witness in the box and he's giving his evidence. With what we hear about artificial intelligence now, I worry that there could be instances where you actually have a witness giving evidence in court who is not a real person. So my question now is, what would be the legal implications of these kinds of situations. I understand we're looking at reforms to guide, the sector, but I think this is a very critical area because it will come to a point in time in legal proceedings where judges may find themselves in situations where they cannot really tell whether the evidence before them is real or not. So what do you have to say to that, please? Thank you very much.
I agree with you, but just like we are currently having with any other evidence, it's usually on the other party that would claim that the person in the video is not a real person to actually prove, and then the evidence of that person would be expunged from the records. Other than that, to be honest, I don't see how judges will bother themselves to go the extra mile to check whether the person on the other side is actually real or not, or whether, for me, even the person being real is just one of them. Whether the evidence they're even given is not prepared, evidence. There are so many things that can happen with giving evidence via video conferencing, or even taking recordings and things like that. So I agree with you, but I think the onus is on the other party who is claiming that the person on the video is not a real person to actually prove and then have the evidence expunged. The judges are not going to bother. That's what I think.
Thank you. This electronic evidence is something, it has to be permitted by the court some stage or the other, because these days we are using everything electronic. You send messages on WhatsApp, you send pictures on WhatsApp, and all the instrument we use is all electronic. So you can't say that, these days when you take photos, earlier we used to produce the photographs also with a negative, because the films were being used, so the negatives were available. Now the negatives are not available. That means that photos cannot be relayed upon? No, it can be relayed. Once if you can demonstrate to the court that it is the original one. That's why in Indian courts, everything, even WhatsApp messages is permitted, the photographs are permitted, all electronic evidence are permitted, provided you put that evidence or the document on the CD drive. You should put it on the CD drive, and so that they can test whether it is morphed, or you can do photoshopping these days. If it is not my picture, they can use somebody's body and somebody's head, and they can show that photo is hers. So that has to avoid that, they only ask for the CD. It has to be put on a CD and should be produced to the court. Those kind of evidence are being permitted. I think this has to be evolved a lot. The technology, even the courts may have to examine and have to learn a lot. And everything is becoming online. Even filing in the courts are becoming online. India, everything is online. For everything we use software. So once the software technology is used, electronic evidence has to be permitted.
And the last question, please.
Muchas gracias.
Good afternoon, thank you. My name is Rosanne Sweeting. I am from FIDA, Bahamas. And just listening to both of our presenters this afternoon, I think my biggest question is, given that we've accepted how rapid AI is developing along with any technology, and we accept that there is not enough regulatory framework or legal frameworks in place, how then are we as litigators, legislators, those in that type of regulatory realm, how are we to stay ahead? Because with the way technology is moving, I feel that we will always be years behind. So how can we get ahead of the curve?
I think my answer would be for the first part, that we don't pretend it's not happening. Because when you pretend AI is not existing or it's not affecting us, then there's no need to push for a framework. So when we accept that it's here and it's here to stay and it's affecting our daily activities, then we can push towards getting laws on it, national laws, not just international laws. That's the first step, to get ahead of it. It's accepting that it exists, is affecting us, and we need to do something about it. Then to preempt what may or may not arise as a result of the AI. So for instance, AI was, certain applications were made so that you can say what's on your mind and probably connect with your friends. But now, as a result of that specific application, people can now mimic other people, put it out there as if it is them, when it actually isn't them. So if we can predict that this is likely to happen as a result of this opportunity, then we can get ahead of it. And then not all AI applications should be free in every country. I think it should be country specific. We don't have to allow everything in our countries. Certain countries have taken some of these applications out of their country. We are allowed to do that. So I think these are some of the ways that we can get ahead.
I agree with you, there is not enough preparedness. You know, there cannot be any preparedness also unless we know what's going to happen. You know, we see some Hollywood movies and say, oh, robots are going to destroy human beings. We can't, you know, preempt it and say, no, don't use this technology particularly for this. There cannot be enough, but you know, even I'm sure the thieves will take some time to understand and to misuse it. So by then, maybe we understand how the technology can be misused and the law can be in place. You know, these days you heard of cyber crimes, the banking account hacking of banking accounts. You know, there is a crime called cyber arrest. Have you heard of that? It's happening rampantly in India. Cyber arrest. You know, you receive a call, and on the call they say your phone is being misused for some criminal offenses. So in 24 hours, your phone will be completely disconnected. So immediately you get, you know, panic and you say, why nothing? No, my phone is with me. I'm not misused. They say, no, there is another number in your name, and that under that we found that it is being used for criminal offenses. So your phone will be disconnected. So then I'll ask, why, what should I do? They say, immediately you go give a police complaint. I said, okay, I'll go. No, don't go anywhere. You should go to Bombay police station. Where I am in Bangalore. And they asked me to go to police station in Bombay. I say, no, how do I go? Why should I go? They say, no, because that crime was investigated there, you have to go give a police complaint. All the story they keep on saying, then they say, okay, you come on video call, we will lodge a police complaint on your behalf, and all that they create, and it takes hours together. I know you're talking to them, slowly you develop faith in them, you think that they are the police people who are talking, and slowly the people themselves are giving all the information to them, their identity card number, Aadhaar card number, and their passport number, and ultimately the bank account number. And some of them are asked, see, some commodity has been seized, you'll be arrested in some time. People get scared and, you know, they say, okay, to prevent that, you go to bank and transfer about 30 lakh of rupees. So they immediately go to bank and transfer funds. They themselves have done that. What do you call this? Is cheating? They themselves are part of the offense. So these kind of hacks are happening. We found recently, there was a report in Bangalore, that there is a group of people, about 100 people, sitting in Cambodia, not in India. They're sitting in Cambodia and they're making calls from there. The police have not been able to find out also where it is happening, from where the calls are coming. Nothing can be found out. So that difficult it is. So until we know how this technology is being misused, there cannot be any law.
Thank you very much to the panelists. A big applause, please.
Bueno, muchas gracias por la presentación y para
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Este tema, definitivamente
And to conclude this topic, definitely the importance of us as lawyers is to implement the preventive law.
prevenir la inteligencia artificial y cómo podemos
So it's important to
estar
prevent
adelante
artificial
de esta
intelligence
nueva
and
situación real.
how we can be in
Thank
front
you.
of it. Thank you.
The fifth panel of the agenda and
El
second of
quinto
the
panel
afternoon
de
has
nuestra
the
agenda
panelists
tiene
Angel y
a las
Andrea Chavarro,
panelistas Andrea Chavarro,
Kerin Jaramillo, and
Keren
the
Jaramillo
moderation of
y la moderación
Virginette
de
Grisales.
Virginet Grisales.
The topic they bring us
El tema va a
is
ser
pension reform in
sobre la
comparative law.
reformas de las pensiones en derecho comparado.
if you are interested in more salsa dance, you're invited to Friday's night to a gala night. Well, I'm going to present them again. The panelists, Andrea Chavarro, Kerin Jaramillo, and the moderations of Benjamin Grisales. The topic they bring us is pension reform in comparative law.
Muy buenas tardes. ¿Aló? Muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Virginet Grisales. Actualmente pertenezco a FIDA
I actually
Colombia,
am part of FIDA Colombia.
ocupando el cargo de
I
secretaria
occupy
general.
the position of General Secretary. I'm going to present my partners Andrea Chavarro and Kerin Jaramillo,
quienes van a tocar el
who are
tema
going
sobre
to
la
talk
reforma de las
about
pensiones en derecho comparado. La
the
doctora
pension reformation.
Andrea Chavarro es
The Dr.
abogada
Lady
egresada de la
Andrea
Universidad
Chavarro is a
Santiago
lawyer
de Cali,
from the Santiago de Cali
con
University,
especialización en
specialized
instituciones jurídicas de la
in
seguridad
jurisdiction
social en Colombia de la Universidad Nacional
from the
de
National
Colombia.
University of Colombia,
Y en derecho laboral y
and of
seguridad
laboral
social
law and
de
social
la
security
Universidad Javeriana
of the
del
Javeriana
mismo
University.
Cuenta con una sólida trayectoria
She has a solid trajectory
en el campo de la
in
seguridad
the
social
field of social
y
security
en la gestión de
and
equipos
the
humanos,
gestion of human teams.
destacándose por su compromiso con el servicio a la comunidad
She's
y el
great
ben-
with her
y el
compromise
bienestar
in the
social.
community service.
A lo largo de su carrera,
Along her career,
la abogada Lady Andrea
the
ha
lawyer
combinado
Lady
sus
Andrea
conocimientos
has combined her
jurídicos
knowledge
con una profunda empatía hacia
with a
las
profound
necesidades de las
empathy
personas, lo que le ha permitido
through
generar
people's needs,
un impacto
which has allowed her
positivo
to
y
create a positive
significativo
impact
en la sociedad.
in society.
La abogada Kerin Jaramillo
The lawyer Kerin Jaramillo
es egresada de la Universidad
studied
Santiago de Cali,
at Santiago
especialista
de
en
Cali
derecho
University
laboral y de seguridad social.
with a specialty in laboral law.
Es abogada conciliadora,
She's a lawyer,
candidata a magíster en
candidate
gerencia pública
in
de
a
la misma
Magister
universidad.
of Public Management.
Se desempeña como asesora
She
jurídica
works as a
corporativa
judicial
y es socia de la firma
corporative
Jaramillo Abogados Consultores
and
SAS.
is part of Jaramillo Abogados.
Adicionalmente, la abogada
Additionally,
trabaja como asesora
she
jurídica
works
de la Secretaría de Hacienda
as a
de la
judicial
Alcaldía de Candelaria. Su trayectoria profesional
Her professional
se distingue
background
por un
distinguishes
profundo compromiso con
for
la
a profound
profesión,
compromise with the profession,
reflejando un alto
reflecting
nivel de
a high
profesionalidad
level of
y un
professionalism
fuerte sentido ético.
and a strong ethic feeling.
Le damos el paso a la doctora Lady
So we
Andrea.
give the word to Dr. Lady.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Bienvenidas a todas aquellas damas.
Welcome all beautiful women. So beautiful to have you here in Cali in this important event.
Espero que
I hope
el tema
the topic
sea de su agrado y entendible. Gracias.
is liked by you and that you
presente
understand.
ponencia tiene como objetivo dar a
So
conocer
the
a grandes
objective
rasgos
is to know
en este momento cómo funciona
in
nuestro
this
sistema
moment
pensional
how the
vigente
pension works
y la reforma pensional que en este momento acaba de ser
and
sancionada.
how the reform
Y
is going
en
to be
comparación
work from now on.
con algunos países
In comparison with different
convenios
countries
internacionales.
and in some
Entonces, en cuanto
international,
a la vigencia actual del sistema pensional, data de 1993
the
a través de
actual
la ley 100
pensional reform
y
comes from
ha
1993
sido modificada
and it
en el
has been
2003.
modified in
Funciona
2003
con dos regímenes.
It
Un
works with two
régimen
regimens.
que es el de prima media
The
con
first
prestación
one,
definida, que es
that is from
administrado por el
half
Estado
prime, that is
colombiano a través de la empresa estatal Colpensiones,
managed by
y otro
Colpensiones
es un
Company,
régimen de ahorro
and the
individual
other is an
que está
individual savings
administrado por fondos
that is
privados de
managed
pensiones.
by private
Ese es nuestro
companies.
sistema actual y vigente.
This is our
Eh,
system right now.
El sistema administrado por el Estado
The system
Colpensiones
managed by
exige
Colpensiones,
unos
which is from
requisitos
the
de 10
government,
semanas para pensionarse, y en el caso de las
requires
mujeres
you to have 100 weeks
tiene una edad
to
inferior.
retire.
Los hombres se pensionan a los
So
62 años
men
y las mujeres se
retire
pensionan
at
a los 57 años.
63 years and women at
Ambos
57
deben
years
de
old.
cumplir el requisito de las semanas cotizadas, que
Both
son
of them
1.300 semanas
need to have
cotizadas.
1,300 weeks
En el
to be able to
régimen
retire.
administrado por los fondos privados, entonces
In the
tenemos
private
que va a
regimes,
depender del
it
ahorro, del
depends
monto que
on the
realice de la
amount
cotización y del
saved
monto que realice la persona.
by the
No requiere
people.
semanas
It doesn't
ni edad
require
para
any
pensionarse,
number
sino
or
haber
age,
acumulado un capital
but
suficiente en una cuenta de ahorro individual.
enough
Entonces, los dos
savings
se van a dividir
in
primero
an
porque
individual
el régimen
account.
de pensiones administrado
So
por
it is
el
going to be
Estado
divided
tiene
because
un
both
componente
regiments,
que es un componente subsidiario en el sentido
especially
de
the
que
one
las
from the state,
cotizaciones que
is
realizan
subsidized
los trabajadores o
by the
afiliados
workers'
sirven para
cotizations,
financiar las pensiones
and
o el
it
fondo común
works
que se
to
va
finance
generando
the
con esas
common
cotizaciones
fund
para pagar las pensiones de los que en este momento están pensionados.
so that means that the
Y,
fund is going to be used
el
to
otro
pay
componente que tiene el
the
régimen
people who are
de prima
retiring
de
right now.
ahorro individual, un componente solidario, es que las personas pueden acceder a una garantía de pensión mínima cotizando 1.150 semanas, y también hay para las mujeres una disminución, o sea, una edad de 57 años, y los
57
hombres
years
62.
and for men 62 years.
A grandes rasgos así funciona
So
nuestro
this is how
sistema actual.
basically
Y
the system
¿qué,
works.
qué problemas presentan?
And
Primero,
what
pues,
problems
en
do
el
we
régimen
have?
de prima media administrado por el Estado,
First, in the government,
pues las mujeres presentan
women present
dificultad para
difficulties
poder realizar sus
to
cotizaciones
be
y
able
completar
to
1.300
finish
semanas cotizadas, que
1,300
constituyen
weeks.
25 años de trabajo.
That means 25
Y
years of work.
en el tema del fondo privado,
And in the
que es el
private fund,
pues,
which
el
is
hecho de que tengan
which is
trabajos
managed
informales, de que
by private
por
companies,
el trabajo
if you have
descuidado
informal
o la informalidad
jobs,
no puedan tener el capital suficiente para
people
acceder
won't be able
a
to
una
have
pensión
enough
en el fondo privado,
money
que requiere de un capital acumulado.
that
Eso
needs
es-
to
eso
be
ayuda.
accumulative
Ahora,
capital.
ambos regímenes tienen la posibilidad de pensionar a las
Both
personas
regimens
por
have the
invalidez o
possibility
sobrevivencia, cumpliendo unos requisitos que
retire
están
people
establecidos en la ley.
For
Aparte, bueno, eso en cuanto al régimen general de pensiones. En
So
cuanto
this is
a
about
la
the
reforma
general.
pensional, bueno, resulta que
So about the pensional
en el
reform
2023,
in 2023,
perdón, ahorita en el 2024,
excuse
se
me, in
sanciona la ley
2024,
12, perdón, 23,
the law
2381,
2381
donde se realiza una reforma
was
pensional que cambia de
from
manera estructural completa
where
el
it
régimen
changed all
que
the
nosotros
structure
llevamos
of the
en este
regimes that
momento.
we
Ya
have
no
right now.
está en dos, ya no hay dos regímenes,
Now there are
privado o
not
público, que
two
son excluyentes,
regimens
sino
which
que
are
hay
the
un solo
private or
régimen
public,
que
but
tiene
now
un
there is
sistema de
only
pilares.
one that has
En el sistema de pilares
a
hay
pillar
4
system.
pilares. Uno es el
So,
pilar solidario,
there are four.
otro es el pilar semicontributivo,
There
otro
are
es el
four
pilar
pillars.
contributivo
One
y
is
otro
the
es el pilar
solidary,
de ahorro voluntario.
voluntary savings.
En el pilar solidario,
So
el Estado va a otorgar una renta vitalicia, bueno, el sistema, ¿no? Va a otorgar una renta vitalicia de 225.000 pesos al día de hoy, que al cambio en dólares son $50 para aquellas personas que se encuentran,
that are
hombres 60 años,
men who are
mujeres,
63 years old,
perdón, hombres 65 años, mujeres
men
60
who are
años,
65 years old, and women who are 60
hombres
years old,
55 años
men who are 55 with a disability or women with 50 years old with a disability.
Pueden obtener
They
una
can get
renta vitalicia
a lifetime
que siempre y cuando estén
rent
en condición de pobreza extrema,
only
vulnerabilidad,
if they are
y dentro de
in
eso,
extreme
están
poverty.
las personas campesinas,
And among
las
these,
personas que pertenecen a pueblos
we have
indígenas,
all the people that work in the rural
tendrán
areas.
derecho a esa renta vitalicia.
They are going
por
to
ese
have the right to get a
Pues,
lifetime
de
rent
acuerdo, el Estado debe establecer
if
los
they
mecanismos
comply
para
with
determinar qué
all
personas se encuentran enmarcadas en esas
these
condiciones
characteristics.
sociales. Y para seguimos. Primer pilar, solidario.
So,
Segundo
the
pilar,
first pillar, solidarity.
contributivo. En este pilar están las
The second one,
personas, hombres 65 años, mujeres
so that would be
60 años,
semi-contributory,
que hayan cotizado
65
entre
for men
300
and
y
60
semanas
for
cotizadas.
women
Esas personas
that
deben
have
cumplir
done
también los
between
requisitos
300 and
del
1,000
pilar
weeks,
anterior, o sea, estar en
and they need to
pobreza,
follow
haber
the same
cumplido
characteristics
el requisito
as the
de
supportive pillar.
encontrarse en esas,
They
en
need
esa
to be in a state of
vulnerabilidad,
poverty
pobreza
or
extrema.
vulnerability.
Y esas personas van
And these
a tener
people
una renta
are going to
vitalicia
have a
también,
lifetime
pero esa renta vitalicia
rent,
se va a componer,
and it's
ya
going
no
to
se va
be
a llamar
compound.
no va a haber un régimen, no se llaman régimen,
There is not
pero
going to be a regimen,
van a tener
but
el componente
they're going to have
de RPM o el componente
the RPM
régimen,
compound
administrado por el Estado y el componente del
and the
ahorro
compound
individual que
of
está
the
administrado por
individual
los fondos privados.
savings.
Y va a ser las semanas que
And
se hayan
it's going to
cotizado en
be
algunos de esos
the
regímenes
weeks that have
con
been accumulated
subsidio
by both regimens,
del
and they are going to
30%
receive
para
a
las
subsidy
mujeres y
of
para
the
los hombres
30% for
del
women
20%.
and the
Así es
20% for
como
men.
estaría compuesto este valor.
So this is how
El
this
tercer
value is going
pilar
to
es
be
el pilar
compound.
contributivo. En el pilar
The third pillar is the
contributivo,
contributory
antes,
pillar.
Hoy en día el sistema de nosotros pensional
Right now,
de retiro
the
es excluyente.
retirement
O tú estás en un
system
fondo privado o estás en un
is
fondo en
exclusive.
el fondo público.
So you're
Hay
either
varios
in the
fondos
private
privados, pero un solo fondo público.
or in the public
En
fund.
En la reforma, las personas,
In the reform,
colombianos, trabajadores,
the Colombian people,
independientes,
the independent Colombian people,
contratistas, empleados,
the
van a
ones-
cotizar hasta 2.3, desde un salario hasta 2.3 salarios mínimos en el fondo del Estado, que se
they
llama
are going
el
to
componente
quote
complementario
from
del régimen de
2.5 to
prima
3
En Colombia,
minimum
una
salaries.
pensión no puede ser
In
inferior
Colombia,
al salario mínimo,
a pension
que para el
cannot be
día de
less
hoy, 2024,
than the minimum
es
salary,
1.300.000,
that for
que
today
son
is
292
$1,300,000 pesos,
Entonces,
which is
primero,
$292.
fundamental entender que una
So that would
pensión
be the
es
minimum amount.
$292 en Colombia de un salario mínimo. Entonces, hasta 3, que son como
So
$670,
up
será
to 3 minimum salaries,
quien
which
cotice,
is
o sea,
like
quien gane hasta ese valor,
$370.
estará en el fondo o en el
So
componente
if you are inside
de
these
prima
terms,
media,
you
y
will
quien
be
cotice salarios superiores
in the third
a
pillar.
2.3, o sea, $672 en adelante, va a cotizar
So if you
al
make
componente, ese valor adicional
from
irá al
$670
componente
up,
de ahorro individual.
this amount
Entonces,
will go to the
Cuando
individual
la persona
saving.
complete la edad, las semanas, porque no cambia,
So when
la edad
people
sigue
have
siendo
the
para
same amount
mujeres
of weeks,
57 años, para hombres 62,
or the age is
no
the same
habrá,
for men, for male
se liquida la
62 and for
prestación
women
y la
57.
paga, la reconoce y la paga el fondo del Estado. El pilar, el último pilar, que es el
The
pilar
fourth
voluntario,
pillar, which is the voluntary
está
one,
solamente es para las
is
personas que
only-
quieran hacer ahorros adicionales para su pensión.
is only directed to people who want to
A grandes, el
make individual
tema
savings for
de
their
tener
pension,
beneficio a pensión por
for their
sobrevivencia en
retirement.
Banilés no cambiaron. Realmente la reforma trae muchísimas cosas.
Really,
pero
the
es
reform
fundamental
has many
La
things,
parte en la que de verdad,
but it's
pues,
very
tiene el
important
componente,
the parts that
toca a las
have
mujeres, que es
the women
ahora las
rights.
mujeres no se van a pensionar
So
con
women
1.300
are not
semanas,
going to be
sino
able
que
to
se van a
retire
pensionar con 1.000.
with
Pero
1,300
ese
weeks,
va a ser
but
o sea, va
with
a ser
1,000
la-
weeks.
la
But this is
reforma
going to be
establece que es
progressive.
progresivamente, que van a bajar las semanas en 25 semanas
So
cada
it's going
año,
to be
hasta llegar al
25 weeks
2036,
less
donde
every
ya
year
son 1000 las que se
until
requerirán.
2036.
La reforma, si bien es del 16 de julio
The
del
reform
2024,
is
su
from July
vigencia
16,
para estos
2024.
temas es a partir de
So
julio del
it
2025.
starts
Y
is work
otra
in
cosa que trae
June
pues,
of
para las mujeres
2025.
importante es que por cada
Another
mujer,
important
por
thing
cada
for
hijo,
women is that for every
las
child a
semanas
woman has,
disminuirán en 50 semanas
the
cada
week
año, teniendo
the
en
weeks
cuenta,
will
pues,
decrease
el cuidado que las
for
mujeres deben de tener
by
con los hijos
50 weeks
que tienen con los hijos
per
durante
every
su periodo
child,
de gestación,
depending
pero solo hasta
on
3
the
hijos. Quiere
care
decir que lo
they give to
mínimo
the child.
que podrán
So
será
the
bajar en
maximum,
semanas hasta 850.
so the
pero
minimum
es
they're going to have
progresivo.
is going to be 850 weeks,
Entonces, esa es la
but
parte
it's going
pues,
to be
más
progressive.
importante. Y hay que explicar, o sea, es importante destacar que esta
It's
reforma
important to tell
lo
you
hace
that this
conforme
reform
al pronunciamiento de la Corte Constitucional
is
a
being
través de una
done by the
sentencia muy
Constitutional
importante, que es la
Court,
C-197 del 2023, que declara
and this sentence declares
el
the
requisito de las semanas cotizadas para las mujeres, que era de 1.300. Porque esa sentencia es importante porque dice que aún cuando ha habido
So it's important
gobierno
even because
colombiano ha tenido en
even
cuenta
because
que
when the
tenemos
Colombian
una brecha
government is
salarial,
taking
una
into account
brecha,
that there is
laboral
a
importante,
money breach
y
in
que
the salaries,
que ha tenido en cuenta eso en género,
and they have
en
been taking
políticas
this
de
into
género,
account,
aún sigue siendo deficiente,
even
porque
it is
nos
efficient
encontramos en
because
el
we
87
find
puntos en temas de género
in 87
según la
points when we
información
talk
del
about
Banco
genders
Mundial.
according to the
Entonces,
World Bank.
que aun cuando se han tomado en cuenta políticas de género,
Even when the
continuamos con
gender
una
politics,
una brecha de
there
género
is a
Entonces, de
gender
acuerdo a
breach
informes del
very
Banco
important.
Mundial
So
pues,
according
nos
to
trae
the
a colación
World
esa
Bank,
sentencia tan importante, Colombia en igualdad de género está en el puesto 57 a nivel
Colombia
mundial
is in the 57th position in
sigue
gender
siendo
equality,
superada por muchos
and
otros
it's
países de la
still
región y
behind,
solo tuvo un 50% en la inclusión femenina.
and there is only 50% in feminine
A
inclusion.
los datos para temas de
When it comes to
segregación
data
para la
for
pensión,
segregation,
solo un 22.4%
only
de las
22.4% of
mujeres
women
reciben una pensión
receive a
en comparación a un hombre
retirement
que
fund
recibe el 30%.
compared to a
Los
man
hombres que
which
son
receive
30%.
30%.
Esta es una brecha de género del 8.4%.
This is a
Esto fue el año
breach
pasado cuando
of
se hizo
the
esta-
24%,
Y esta,
and it was done by last
esta
year.
desigualdad se agrava en edades superiores porque
And this is
las
worse
mujeres, de 80 a
with older
84
women
años,
because
solo el
women from 80 to
19% reciben una
84%, only
y
19%
en
receive
contraste con los hombres que reciben el
a pension, and it
31.2%.
contrasts with men, which is a percentage of 31%.
Esta situación se agrava más
This
para las
situation
mujeres en zonas
worsens
rurales,
for women in rural
debido
areas
a la informalidad laboral y a la segregación.
because there is informality in the work.
Pues una de las más importantes conclusiones es que
One of the most
muchas
important
mujeres,
conclusions is that
no
many
lograban
women
acceder a
are
la
not
pensión,
able to access
a
their
pesar de las
retirement
medidas que ha
fund,
tomado el Estado. Y
even
pues
with
el
the
COVID-19
changes
afectó
the
todavía más la
even with the
inclusión de las
changes the
mujeres
government has
en el
made,
mundo laboral
and
por los temas de cuidado
of course
en
the
el hogar.
COVID pandemic
Para mí,
increased this
una de las
problematic.
conclusiones, pues,
For me, one of the
importantes
important
es que la
conclusions is
reforma
that
trae
the
un tema
reform
favorable para las
brings
mujeres y es la
good
modificación
points,
de las
which is the
semanas.
modification of the
Está
weeks,
teniendo en cuenta temas de cuidado que nosotros nos cuesta
and
más cotizar
it's been taken into account
porque históricamente
that
seguimos
women
siendo
that is
todavía
harder for women to
muy vulneradas
quote
en cuanto
the number of weeks
a
because we're
trabajo.
still vulnerable when it comes to
Y,
jobs.
Sin embargo, pues esto va a ser progresivo, quiere decir que
And this is
a
going to
pesar
be
de que se toma
progressive.
esta medida,
So there are
hasta el
good changes in
2036
the
no va a haber
regulations,
una baja de semanas
but this will come
que
up
estas
until
políticas de
2036 when we
reforma
have
deben ir
to quote
acompañadas de otras
1,000 weeks.
reformas, como
It's
es, pues,
important to say
la
that this
reforma laboral,
reformation comes with different reforms, like the laboral reform, that allows women to have bigger inclusion of women in formal jobs. Another important conclusion
pues igual nosotros en este momento, según
is
el
that
último corte del
according
Departamento
to the last
de Estadística
data
Nacional
taken
DANE,
of the statistics,
nosotros hay una brecha muy grande en el desempleo.
we have a big breach in unemployment, and it has increased from last year to till today.
Una desigualdad muy grande
We still have a lot of inequality when it comes to
La
salaries.
reforma pensional, pese a que trae muchas
The
cosas
pensional
positivas,
reformation
también
has many positive
hay
aspects,
que considerar
but also
que
needs to be considered
los pilares
that the
solidario
pillars
y semicontributivo
of
pues
solidarity
no
and
constituyen
semi-contributive
una pensión, es una
don't
renta
constitute a pension.
que a hoy son $50.
It's
Pues lo
just
que pretende
a
la
little
reforma
amount of money
pensional es que haya
of
mayor
$50,
cobertura del
and what it
sistema.
pretends
Sin
is that it
embargo,
covers
$50 pues no son una
more
pensión
population.
digna para los
But as you
ciudadanos.
know, $50 per
no son
month
pensiones.
is not
Lo
enough
único
for
que
anybody.
constituye una pensión son unas cotizaciones y el cumplimiento de una edad. Por lo
So the
tanto,
only way for women
considero
to
que
get their
el hecho
pension
de que
is
hayan
to
más subsidios no
comply
significa
with the
ni
number
cobertura,
of
ni
weeks
trabajo, ni una pensión
and the
digna.
age that they need
Aparte de
for them
eso,
to get their retirement
el
fund.
tema de que en el pilar
Other than
contributivo
that, in the contributive
ya
pillar,
muchas personas que vienen jóvenes,
many
de pronto que
people
van a estar,
that are young
que han venido cotizando
that have been
al sistema para
getting some
tener
weeks
una pensión acorde a
to
lo
get
que
a
han
pension,
trabajado, a lo que han
taking into
estudiado,
account their work and what
personas que
they've
vienen
studied.
cotizando con más de
So
2.3
people
salarios,
that have
pues
been
su
getting
liquidación se va a ver desmejorada
pensions
y
in more than
lo que consideraban
2.5
que
minimum
por lo menos iba a
salaries,
ser el 75% de
they
su
they
pensión,
considered they would get
pues
at
con la
least
reforma esa
75%,
parte se va a ver
and
afectada
with the
porque ese
reformation,
trabajador que ha venido
this worker that we're
trabajando
talking
durante todo
about
ese tiempo con ese valor no va a
is
poder
not going to
pensionarse
get
como espera hacerlo.
is not
Porque
going
va
to
a
get
bajar
the money they
casi a un,
expected, because it's
no
going
sé,
to go down
40%.
by
Y
40%.
por último, que me gustaría decir es que
And lastly,
también está dejando una carga muy grande porque solo
there
va a
is
haber
also
una
a big
entidad que
charge
va a
because there is
administrar
one entity
todo el
only
tema porque va a reconocer,
that is going
va a
to have the
pagar y
administration,
va a tener todos los afiliados
and
del
it's going to
país
have
que deben enviar al
everybody
Estado.
that is going to
Por lo
be
tanto, pues,
the
tenemos
government
un
company,
año para la vigencia
and there
y
is
la
only
entrada, la
1 year
operación
for
como
all
tal
the
de todo
people
eso.
from the private funds
Y
to
son
migrate
retos
to
muy
the
grandes que
public
está
fund.
enfrentando Colombia,
So this is a big
el
challenge,
sistema pensional,
the pensional
para
system,
poder hacer esta implementación y que de
to make
verdad,
this
como
implement
está planteado, se vea realmente una diferencia positiva
and to
en
actually
cuanto
have a
a
positive
nosotros,
change
a la brecha de
when it
género que
comes
tenemos.
to the
Les agradezco
general
mucho su
breach.
atención
Thank you so much
y
for your
continúe mi
attention,
compañero.
and I give the word to my partner.
Muchas gracias, doctora Lady Andrea.
Thank you so much,
Vamos a
Dr. Lady.
escuchar la ponencia de la doctora Kelly Jaramillo.
We are
Nos
going to
hablará
hear
del
Dr. Kelly
derecho de
Jaramillo,
las pensiones
who's going
a
to talk
nivel
about
comparativo con
the
algunos
pension rights
países.
when it
Entonces, con ella.
and the comparison to different countries.
Bueno, de acuerdo a lo que ha manifestado mi compañera
According to what my partner said about the social security system, I'm going to talk about the genre that has affected women in the access to a pension compared to Chile, Brazil, and Colombia. So among these three countries, there is a recognition of the social security. It has been positive, but at the end, these countries have found that this breach that discriminates so we can see that this has only been shown in paper and it has not really come to reality. So for many years to now, we have seen that women have been have been uh, have been put in a position of taking care of kids and stay home and take care of the family, and the husband is the one who goes out and get the money for the household. So this breach has generated that women have a little access to quotation for the retirement fund, taking into account that not only we have been discriminated by the little access to the laboral work, but also there has been a discrimination when it comes to salaries. So there is a breach, there is a huge breach, not only locally but also around the world. Women have been discriminated when it comes to salary. So we know that a woman can be an engineer, can be an architect, but we know that women don't get the same salaries as men. So it's important that from the justice point of view, it's important that we find equality for women, not only when it comes to the laws, but also a real equality. So it's important that the state gets together different laws that actually work to close this breach of salaries between men and women. So it's important to take into account that one difficulty that Latin America has had is the access to Social Security. Even if there are international instruments that say that there don't have to be discrimination against women, these countries like Colombia, Chile, and Brazil, since French Revolution, structure with political constitutions, and with these political constitutions, they constituted the equality and dignity and non-discrimination for women. But also, these constitutional documents and these countries I mentioned before also incorporated international treaties that establish that there don't have to be discrimination against women of any form. Other than that, knowing that all of these things were included, we still see the breach of the limited access to women to Social Security, to jobs, and to salaries similar to men. I'm going to talk specifically about the Social Security system of Colombia, and I want to say that since the 100 law was out, we could see that there has always been inequality when it comes to a woman getting a retirement fund with dignity. And this is because women don't have a continuity.
Tienen el beneficio de adquirir su pensión a los 62 años, mientras que las mujeres a los 57 años.
No, men have the benefit of getting the benefits at 62 years old, but women at 57 and the same amount of weeks. So there is, of course, a discrimination because statistically it's shown that women have less access to laboral market than men. So what my partner mentioned is very important because since 2003
el Estado ha
the
estado
court has been
vulnerando
saying that the
estos
state
tratados internacionales
has
sobre
been
la no discriminación contra la mujer.
endangering
Bien,
the
entonces
treaties
con la
that cover
llegada de la
the
reforma
non-discrimination for
pensional,
women.
Para la mujer se cierra un poco esa brecha.
So with the new reformation, the breach closes the gap a little bit, or there are some benefits received
para el acceso a las pensiones de vejez. Como ya lo indicó
to
mi
the
compañera,
access
va a
of
haber una reducción significativa de semanas. Las que no alcancen a pensionar pues tendrán una
so
renta
the women
vitalicia
who
que,
will not
pues,
be
si
able
bien
to
no
retire
generará
will
para
have
ellas una pensión,
a
pues
little
tendrán
rent,
de pronto un alivio económico que no lo
which is not
establecía
going to be
la
enough,
ley 100.
but
Entonces,
is something new
de
that
cierta
is
manera,
what that
esa
was established this
reforma
year.
pensional le hace honor a esta sentencia porque ya la Corte se había pronunciado indicando que en Colombia se seguían vulnerando estos derechos a la mujer con respecto a la seguridad social en pensiones. Los sistemas pensionales en estos tres países
The pensional systems in
tienen,
these
a
three
grandes rasgos,
countries
una similitud
have a
respecto
similarity
de,
when it comes to
los sistemas que ellos contemplan
the
para las
systems that they
pensiones.
take into account.
Por ejemplo, Chile
For example, Chile
son manejados por las administradoras de fondos
is
de
managed
pensiones,
by
como lo contempla Colombia, es muy parecido. Y también
by the
estos
retirement
países,
funds
Chile,
similar
tiene
to
unas,
Colombia.
Los hombres se pensionarán con
And
65
in Chile,
años
men
y las
retire
mujeres
with
con 60
65
años.
years
Entonces,
old and women with 60
existe
years
esa
old.
brecha en ese país todavía,
So there's
aunque
still
para
that
el
breach in
2008
Chile,
la presidenta Michelle Bachelet
but in 2008, Michelle Bachelet, the president of
realizó
Chile,
una reforma pensional
did a
significativa
pensional
para ese
reform
país,
significant
en donde tuvo en
for
cuenta
the
el
country,
concepto de género
and
y
she
fue
took into
allí
account the
sobre
gender
esa
concept,
ley que se incorporó un poco el concepto
and
de
it
género para las
was
mujeres,
in that
aunque
time
este país contempla a la fecha algunas
even
reformas
though
también
this
importantes,
country
pero
is taking into
en
account
ese
some
momento
important
se tuvo en
reformations.
cuenta el concepto de género. Colombia, de cierta manera, con la reforma pensional, le hace un honor
So
a
Colombia
las
gives
mujeres
honor
trabajadoras,
to working
a las
women,
mujeres cuidadoras,
to women who take
han
care
sido
of kids
olvidadas desde
that
décadas
have been
atrás,
forgotten
porque
by society,
estadísticamente está comprobado que
because
quienes más acceso a
statistically
una pensión de vejez tienen son los
it is
hombres.
shown that
Entonces,
men are
con
more
este
likely
nuevo
to get a
sistema
retirement
pensional, si
fund.
bien trae unas cargas
So with this
significativas
new
para el Estado,
system,
lo cierto es que para la mujer también.
it's true that for
Para la
women
mujer
is going to be
se
a little
cierran
bit
algunas brechas
easier
de
to get
discriminación que fueron
the
tenidas en
retirement fund,
cuenta por quienes
taking
trabajaron en
into
esta
account that
reforma
before
y tuvieron en cuenta sus
there were
tratados
some
internacionales que han
discrimination.
sido ratificados por nuestro país. Entonces, de esta
In the
manera, pues yo
previous-
concluyo que en Colombia, poco a poco esta lucha que han
So it has
generado
been a
las
difficult
mujeres,
fight in
quienes
Colombia
ocupan estos cargos públicos,
about
quienes
the
han tenido la
pension,
fortuna
about the
de pelear
retirement
por los
fund,
derechos contra la mujer, se está viendo reflejado con la reforma
but it has
pensional.
been shown that
Muchas
it
gracias.
has worked.
Bueno, muchas gracias a las doctoras. A
thank you so
continuación
much
les
to
haré
the
unas
doctors.
preguntas que me han llegado a mi tablet,
I'm going to
siguiendo
ask
la
you some
inteligencia
questions.
artificial. Entonces va para la doctora Lady Andrea. ¿La reforma pensional establece algún régimen de transición para su aplicación, doctora?
Sí, la reforma pensional establece que las
The
mujeres
pensional reform
que al
establishes
momento de
that
entrar en
women
vigencia, que es 1 de julio del 2025, la reforma pensional, las mujeres que tengan 750
the
semanas
women that have
cotizadas
750
y los
weeks
hombres que tengan 900 semanas
quoted
cotizadas
and
al
men who
1 de
have
julio del
900
2025
weeks
quedan
quoted
excluidos del sistema de reforma pensional
by
y
June 1st,
quedan en el
2025
anterior.
are going
Sí,
to be
señora.
excluded
Ese es el régimen
from
de
the new
transición. Se le
regimen,
aplica la norma
and they are
anterior
going to
a
continue
quienes
with the
tengan este
previous
número de
regimen.
semanas.
Muchas gracias. Para la doctora Kerin, ¿considera usted que con una reforma pensional se cierra la brecha discriminatoria en materia pensional con
So
respecto
do
a la
you
mujer?
think the discrimination in the
Bueno,
Allí habría que
retirement fund
analizar
is
varios
breach is going to
aspectos
close a little bit.
jurídicos y son que
So
la
we need to
reforma
take into
pensional
account
nuestra empieza su vigencia el próximo año.
that
¿sí?
the new reform
En
starts
estos
next year.
momentos hay demandas
So
en la
in
Corte
this year
Constitucional
there
que
are
están tratando de
demands
tumbar la
in the
reforma
constitutional
pensional.
law that are
Entonces,
trying to
pues de
stop
cierta manera
the new
diría yo que
reform.
se cierra un poco la brecha, pero tendríamos que esperar que la
So
Corte
I could say that the
Constitucional
breach is
haga
going to
algunos
close a little bit,
pronunciamientos al respecto.
but
Pero
we need
en
to
el
take into
momento sí
account
considero que se han
that
cerrado
in
no
this
todas
moment
las brechas
the breaches
de
has been
discriminación que tiene la mujer,
decreasing.
pero sí en gran medida respecto al sistema pensional.
Muchas gracias.
Thank
En
you
el
so
público
much.
tenemos preguntas para las panelistas. Ok, muchísimas gracias. La doctora Catalina.
So there is one question by. Hello.
Claro que sí, claro que sí, con mucho gusto. Les pregunto, ¿cómo los medios de comunicación? We was seeing the television that llevados la cámara, tradúceme para todas, diles que solamente han aprobado dos, la Cámara de Representantes solo ha aprobado dos debates, faltan debates. Ah, bueno, entonces la pregunta es, ya está aprobada en firme porque el lotera más horrible allá en esa Cámara de Representantes
The question is,
because there has been news that there have only been 2 debates, and we just want to know if
Sí, efectivamente está aprobada, fue sancionada el 16 de julio del 2025. Ya está para, pues es que lo que dice la doctora Kelly es que está en el control de constitucionalidad. Del 2024, perdón. El 16 de julio del 2024. Pero, aunque algunos artículos de la reforma ya están vigentes para temas de traslado,
So
gente
some
de
of the
fondos,
articles of the
realmente
reformation are already working.
lo estructural, como el
Really
sistema
the
de pilares, todo eso, los requisitos para pensionarse empiezan a partir del 1 de julio del
from
2025.
June 1st of 2025.
Muchísimas gracias. Damos cierre al
Thank you so
panel.
much. We close this
Y
panel.
gracias a todos ustedes.
And thank you to everyone.
The sixth panel has the presence of Laura Negrinkindi, Yurani Andrea Ordóñez, moderated by Lady Rojas. The topic that will be addressed is new masculinities.
El siguiente tema va a ser nuevas masculinidades por las panelistas Laura Niringikindi de Uganda, Yurani Ordóñez de Colombia, moderado por la doctora Lady Rojas.
Ya está aprendido.
Mucho gusto.
¿Pero tú inicias?
menos.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Queremos contarles que este panel es para tratar el tema de nuevas masculinidades.
Good afternoon. We want to tell you that this panel is about new masculinity, and this is a new topic because it's a strategy that in Valle del Cauca and all Colombia we want to highlight to find equality
El
in the
tema va a ser
genres.
tratado por la doctora Yurani Andrea
The
Ordóñez,
topic is going to be talk about Yurani
máster
Ordóñez,
internacional en desarrollo personal,
psychologist,
autoestima e inteligencia emocional y máster en consejería familiar.
and she has a master in
Actualmente se
familiar
desempeña
counseling.
como Secretaría de la Mujer, Equidad de Género y Diversidad Sexual del Valle del Cauca. Cuenta con más de 15 años de experiencia
She has more
en
than
el sector
15 years
público,
of
así como más
experience
de
in the
17
public
años de trabajo comunitario.
and more than 70 years
Trabajó
in
durante
communal
5
work.
años en España como Master
She worked for
Psicotrader,
5 years in
apoyando
Spain.
a inversionistas bursátiles en la Academia Dax Lovers. Y también nos va a acompañar desde lo virtual la
And also
doctora
we're going to
Laura
have virtually the
Nirinkindi.
Dr. Laura
Es de
Nirinkindi
Uganda,
from
es abogada de
Uganda.
derechos humanos y lleva más
She's
de
a
22
human
años
rights
trabajando en el
lawyer
ámbito
and
de
has more
género,
than 20
la
years
gobernanza,
working
el Estado de
in
Derecho y el
gender
desarrollo.
equality.
Tiene un máster en la
She
Universidad
has a
de Oxford
master's
en
in
Derecho
the Oxford
Internacional de los
University of
Derechos Humanos y
International
es
Law
licenciada en Derecho por la Unidad de Makeret de Kampala, Uganda. Ha sido directora de Pro
She has been a
Initiatives Agency,
director
una consultora
of the
fundada
Privacy
por ella
Agency.
desde 1999 hasta la fecha, y Laura es miembro de un grupo de trabajo
And she's
sobre
a member
discriminación
of a
contra la
working group
mujer del Consejo de Derechos Humanos.
in the
Le
discrimination
cedo la
of
palabra a
women
la
in the
doctora
human
Yurani,
rights.
quien va a empezar con su exposición.
So I give the word to the Dr. Yurani.
Bueno, muy buenas tardes para todas y para todos los
afternoon,
presentes,
everyone.
para los medios de comunicación y todos los que nos acompañan. Me siento muy honrada de
I feel
estar
very
aquí
pleased
con
to be here with
ustedes,
you
con
today,
mujeres que son
with
ejemplo
women
en
that
medio
are
de sus
example
culturas, en medio de
in
sus
your
países y
cultures
su
and countries
territorio.
and
Hoy
territories.
vamos a hablar de un tema
Today we're going to
que
talk about a
está
topic
moviendo al mundo.
that is moving the world.
Bueno, como les decía, hoy vamos a hablar
Like
de
I
un
said
tema
before,
que
today
está
we're going to
moviendo
talk
al
about a
mundo.
topic that is moving the
Un
world.
tema que desde luego
topic
es
that
entendido por
is
muchos,
understood
pero
by
comprendido
many
por
people.
muy pocas personas. Y quienes realmente conocen sobre violencias basadas en género, sobre las problemáticas que llevan estas violencias, es que pueden interpretar muy bien
So the people
qué
who
son
really
las
know
masculinidades equitativas.
about violence
Cuando hablamos de género,
really
cuando
know
hablamos de
what is
violencias
equity
basadas en
masculinity.
género, cuando hablamos de esta problemática
When we
nos
talk
damos
about the
cuenta que
problematic,
también pueden
we
haber
find out
alternativas
that there can be
y nos
alternative,
mueve el buscar,
and it
el
moves us
resolver, el conseguir una solución.
the way
Y
of
es
look
por esto que
to find a
hoy
solution.
quiero hablarles de masculinidades
And
equitativas,
today,
que además de
that's why
ser un
today I wanna
programa
talk
que
about equity
institucionalmente hace
masculinity.
parte del plan de desarrollo de la gobernadora Dilian Francisca Toro, también es importante saber qué se está haciendo con el tema de masculinidades equitativas aquí en el Valle del Cauca.
So it's important to know what's being
Cuando
done
pensamos en las
about
masculinidades
this topic
equitativas,
here
yo
in Valle
siempre
del Cauca.
he sentido que no es necesario
When we
encasillarlos,
talk about
que hay que
equity
pensar
masculinity,
en lo que es la
it's
colaboración,
important to think
colaboración
about
de
what
roles,
helping is,
intercambio de roles en medio de los contextos, en
interchange of
medio de la
roles,
familia, en
in the
medio de la
context of
sociedad.
families.
¿Y qué logra hacer el cambio o las masculinidades equitativas en una sociedad? Esa es la gran pregunta. Pues logra que hayan valores,
So it helps to
que haya
have values,
solidaridad,
to have
que
solidarity,
haya intercambio y diálogo en medio de
interchange
las
and
familias
dialogue
o en cualquier
among families
contexto.
in
Pero
any
también
context.
logra algo muy positivo
But
y
also
es la sensibilidad.
reaches something very
Sensibilidad
important, which
de
is
parte
sensibility
de ambos
that
géneros,
comes from both
de aquellas
genders,
personas que integran ese
from both
contexto.
people that
Las
integrate
masculinidades
that context.
equitativas llevan a un resultado positivo en la
So it
sociedad
brings
con
a
una buena
positive result
convivencia,
with a good
mediante el
convivence.
diálogo, mediante acciones afirmativas que ayuden a la
talking
persona a
and
cambiar sus
positive
pensamientos,
affirmations that help
a
people
cambiar la
change
forma como
their
interactúan
topics.
y si queremos definir, por ejemplo,
If we
qué
want to
son las
define
masculinidades
what an
equitativas,
equity
pues
masculinity is,
tendremos que abrir un debate muy
we need
grande,
to
porque
open a big
cada uno
debate
de los que estamos aquí
because all
tenemos
of
un
us who
concepto
are
de
here have a
masculinidades
different
equitativas por
concept of
cultura,
equity
por
masculinity
idiosincrasia,
because of the
por
culture,
principios.
because of the
Cada uno ha
principles,
constituido sus
and all
propios
of you have
conceptos de masculinidad equitativa.
constitute the
Y
concept
como
of
le digo, siempre he pensado que no
masculinity.
debemos encasillarlo, que debemos ser más abiertos, tener una visión más amplia y pensar en las masculinidades equitativas como un
have to
concepto
think
que
of
aparte la
masculinity
masculinidad de la agresión, del dominio, donde se logra entender que una
Where it is
masculinidad
understood
equitativa es colaborativa,
that
es
masculine
entendible, es
equity
comprensible,
is
es de
helpful, is
diálogo y es de
understandable.
permanecer. Cuando se logra identificar una masculinidad equitativa en un contexto de
So when it
relaciones
is- when it
sociales,
is found
pues logramos trabajar que permanezca,
equitable
que
masculinity,
socialmente
we can
pueda
find
ser estable y
that it can
generar un
stay
cambio
actually
en
in the
medio de
society
los actores
and
que
it can
están allí.
generate a
¿Y quiénes
change.
son los actores? Pues
who
hombres,
are the
mujeres,
actors, men and
personas
women,
binarias, población LGBTI, todos los
all
que
the
estamos
population
en medio de ese
that is in
contexto
front of this
buscando una
context
alternativa.
looking for an alternative.
Las masculinidades equitativas, entonces,
the
para no generar un concepto muy cerrado,
generating-
podemos definirlas como
It can be
aquellas
defined as
acciones
the actions
que se apartan
that
de la
are
agresividad, del
apart
dominio,
from the-
y que nos permiten tener una visión más amplia sobre los géneros, sobre los roles y sobre el comportamiento. También tenemos, por ejemplo, algo muy interesante cuando
We
hablamos
can
de
also say
masculinidad
something very
equitativa,
interesting
es
when we
la
talk about
rigidez emocional.
equitable masculinity.
Cuando nos pensamos
is
en
the
qué es la
emotional-
rigidez emocional, nos damos cuenta que si la conservamos, que si tenemos una emoción rígida,
We can say
entonces
that
nos vamos
if we
a
have a
encasillar
rigid
y
emotion,
termina esto
we're going to
provocando
be
una
labeled,
alteración
and this is going
nerviosa,
to
emocional,
cause
psicológica,
a
y que
nervous
estas
alteration
alteraciones por lo regular
and
nos llevan a
economic.
tomar acciones que son agresivas ante otra persona.
And this will take
Entonces,
us
si
to make
logramos
aggressions
controlar eso, si
against other
logramos
people.
sacar ese
So if we can
concepto de
control this
dominio,
concept of
lograremos
dominance,
tener la
we are
estabilidad,
going to
un
be able to
pensamiento
have
abierto, un
stability
pensamiento
and an
estable,
open thought,
donde
a
pueda
stable thought,
promoverse
where we
una
can
vida
promote
emocional
the
estable,
emotional
sin
life
rigidez,
with
sin
stability,
temores y sobre todo con el respeto,
without fear,
con los
and with
principios,
the
con los
respect
fundamentos
and
del ser
principles and
humano.
fundaments of the human.
Quise traerles estas fotografías para
I wanted to
contarles
bring these
sobre
pictures
las
to tell you a
masculinidades
little bit about
equitativas que se
equitable
trabajan en el Valle
masculinity
del
that are
Cauca.
being worked in Valle del
Aquí
Cauca.
hemos hecho presencia en
Here,
diferentes
we have been
sectores
in
de la
different
sociedad,
areas of society.
pero hemos iniciado por el
We
sector
have started
educativo,
from the
donde
learning
llegamos a trabajar con los
sector,
jóvenes,
where we
sensibilizar a los
started
jóvenes
working with
diciendo
young people,
qué
telling
son
them
esas masculinidades
what this is,
equitativas, logrando que ellos también se abran en espacios de diálogos
being able
participativos,
that they are
siendo
inside the dialogue,
agentes activos en medio de la sociedad.
and
Y
making
comenzamos
them
a abrirles
active
estos
agents in
espacios por
society.
medio de profesionales. Realizamos toda una metodología guiada
So we
por
created a full
psicólogos
methodology guided by
que son
psychologists
especialistas
that
en la
are
manera como
specialties in
hablan
the
del
way
dominio
they
o de la
talk about
masculinidad
dominance
desde ese
or
dominio y les
masculinity
ayudan a acercarse
and help
sobre
them
el
get
verdadero
closer to
concepto
the
del
real
respeto,
concept
de la comprensión, de la confianza y del
of
cambio de
respect,
roles.
understanding,
Allí en estos
and change
contextos
of roles.
surgen muchas preguntas, pero también surgen las
We have different
alternativas
questions in
dadas
this
por
context,
ellos mismos, por
but
los
also we
hombres.
have the
Y
alternatives
quisimos
given by
trabajar
men.
con los hombres inicialmente,
And we wanted
con
to
los
work
jóvenes,
initially
pero también hemos
with men,
estado incluyendo las mujeres
we have
y las que
also been
están
including
alrededor
women
de ese
and
contexto.
whoever
Lo hemos
are
hecho,
around this
como le digo,
context.
con los jóvenes y
So
también
we've had
lo estamos
this with
realizando en diferentes sectores, con
different
los
areas.
sectores de los bomberos, de los
So with
municipios,
firefighters,
con sectores
people from
educativos,
different
con empresas,
departments,
con diferentes gremios de la sociedad.
different kinds of people in society.
Hemos tenido aquí una alternativa en el Valle
We've
del
had different
Cauca,
alternatives
que la
in Valle del
alternativa se
Cauca.
llama Círculo de Hombres.
And
Este
it's called
círculo de
Circle of
hombres
Men.
es promover todos
And
estos
it's-
espacios
and it works
que
to
son
promote different
masculinizados,
spaces that
promover
are-
que
that
haya
are
una participación
masculinized,
activa de las
and we
mujeres, que
promote
puedan
that there is an
comprender la
active
manera como ellas
participation of
pueden
women,
ser esos agentes
and
de
that they
cambios o pueden
understand how they
promover
can be
también
agents of
cambios
change
sociales
and
dentro de
promote
sus territorios.
social
Los círculos de hombres
changes
son
in
espacios
society.
abiertos para estos
So
hombres
these are
y lo
open
hemos
spaces for
iniciado,
these
como les
kinds of-
decía,
for this
en
kind
las
of men.
instituciones
And we
educativas.
started in
Nos hemos encontrado
educational-
con diferentes acciones en los territorios. Esas acciones son
So we found
tanto
different
institucionales, pero también de la
actions
comunidad,
from these people,
donde
which are
en
both-
diferentes municipios del departamento hay problemáticas de violencias basadas en género, y es con la comunidad, con las mujeres, que comenzamos a escuchar de ellas
So we
qué son
start
esos
with
cambios
women,
que
what
quieren
are
o
the
que
changes they
esperan
want
que
or they
trabajemos
expect
con los hombres.
that are
Ellos
being worked
comienzan
with
a
men.
generar esos cambios
men
y
start
se
to make
comienza a
these
dar una
changes,
mejor convivencia.
and there start to
Si
be a
pensamos
better
en la masculinidad equitativa para
well-being.
disminuir las violencias basadas en género, por
If we
supuesto
talk
tendremos
about
buenos
masculine and equitable,
resultados.
of
Pero
course
el
we're gonna
mayor
have good
resultado
results.
de esto es una sana
But the
convivencia.
biggest
Si hay una
result is
sana
to
convivencia, si hay
a
respeto,
good
si
relation
hay
between
esa
men and
ciudadanía
women.
y ese compartir de roles y funciones, pues estarán generando entonces también aquellos cambios positivos para disminuir la agresión entre parejas, la violencia intrafamiliar, las relaciones de pareja,
Different
para
relations,
fortalecimiento de
and
los
to make
vínculos
stronger
familiares
the
y también
different-
de pareja. Aquí quise traerles este video,
I wanted to
que es de
show
una
you this
institución
video
educativa
that is
donde
about a
estamos
school
realizando este programa de
we're working in
masculinidades
this
equitativas.
masculinity
Ustedes van a ver los jóvenes, el proceso
you're
que
going to see
llevaron,
the
y
process
quise compartirlo
the
con
kids
ustedes
have,
para que conozcan
and I
un
wanted to
poquito
share with
también
you
más
so
del
that you
Valle del
find a little
Cauca
bit about
y de
Valle
la
del
cultura
Cauca
que hay en
and the
medio
culture
de los
that we
jóvenes.
have among these kids.
La Gobernación del Valle del Cauca ha emprendido una iniciativa sin precedentes para promover estrategias integrales de reconocimiento individual y social y prevenir las violencias de género en diversos contextos que puedan afectar a las mujeres o a la población LGTBI. Una de ellas es la que adelanta la Secretaría de Mujer, Equidad de Género y Diversidad Sexual, Círculo de Hombres, para fomentar el diálogo y la reflexión en torno a la construcción de masculinidades equitativas.
Desde el año 2017, en el primer periodo de la doctora Dilian Francisca Toro, ella impulsó muchos programas para la prevención de violencias de género. Ahora, retomando este periodo, ella quiere implementar una estrategia totalmente novedosa en el país, y es educar desde la juventud, para que los jóvenes comiencen a formarse, a transformar sus valores e implementarlos en el bien de la comunidad. Ella ha implementado esta estrategia como piloto aquí en Candelaria. Estamos trabajando con el hombre, transformando desde la juventud para que ellos comiencen a crear y a fortalecer valores y puedan cuidar a las mujeres.
Es una apuesta fundamental para que los hombres se involucren activamente en la construcción de valores y en la prevención de cualquier tipo de violencia. Desde temprana edad es crucial educar sobre el respeto, la empatía y la equidad de género, para que a lo largo de la vida se forjen relaciones sanas y el rechazo a comportamientos violentos.
Que los chicos puedan seguir teniendo un espacio donde hablar de lo que les pasa, de cómo se sienten, de las problemáticas que enfrentan, abordar de una forma crítica todo lo que hemos venido hablando, las situaciones de machismo, las desigualdades, la corresponsabilidad que como hombres deben de tener en las diferentes cargas de la vida cotidiana. Han encontrado en esto, no solamente en el concurso, sino digamos en las diferentes sesiones que hemos tenido de Círculo de Hombres, han encontrado un espacio valioso.
Trabajar con hombres del sector educativo permite abordar la prevención de la violencia de género en una etapa temprana, lo cual resulta fundamental para abordar la raíz del problema y promover relaciones saludables desde la adolescencia, al tiempo que se amplía la base de aliados en esta lucha. Así se fortalece una estrategia con actores determinantes en la construcción de una sociedad más justa y más respetuosa.
nos han hablado sobre que un hombre tiene que aprender a expresarse. Pues seguramente la mayoría de hombres, como todos, tenemos esa concepción de que el hombre tiene que ser fuerte. El hombre no puede llorar, no puede mostrar tantos sentimientos porque eso es como debilidad, no sé. Pero siempre a la mujer le dan como un poco de lado, o la trataban feo, o siempre había como cierto machismo.
Eso no debería ser un estilo de mujer.
A mí no me parece, pues me pareció muy bacano, ya que tocan temas que casi no se trabajan en el colegio, como el machismo, la falta de respeto con las personas, y lo del video es otra cosa que también me pareció muy bacana, ya que ahí nos dejan expresarnos y dar nuestra opinión de lo que podemos hacer contra ese acoso.
No, quítate de aquí, hombre. No, quítate de saco mejor.
Parece que ya andando con mujeres.
No, para un gay.
La estrategia de prevención denominada Círculo de Hombres comenzó su etapa piloto en el municipio de Candelaria y busca ser replicada en todo el Valle del Cauca.
Me parece una estrategia maravillosa porque pues, les va a permitir a los estudiantes mejorar su desarrollo personal, su proyecto de vida, generar estrategias para disminuir estos micromachismos o machismos que se presentan y pues vamos a tener una sociedad más igualitaria. Entonces es un gran espacio para los estudiantes y para nosotros como institución.
Hemos tenido varias ideas. Puede ser el maltrato que se le da a veces incluso a la forma de pensar de los hombres. Hay hombres que se maquillan, a veces usan falda y son recriminados por ellos mismos ser felices a veces.
El video se va a tratar y estamos intentando tratarlo. Vamos a ver cuánto se demora, los segundos, los minutos. Es sobre el bullying.
De esta forma se refleja el compromiso conjunto de todas las entidades y personas que estuvieron dispuestas a promover una cultura de respeto, equidad y solidaridad, y constituye un paso fundamental hacia la construcción de una sociedad más inclusiva y libre de violencias de género.
Bueno, como les dije, quise traer este video para que ustedes conozcan del Valle del Cauca y conozcan también un poquito de la cultura y de lo que se ve en las instituciones educativas. Este es el reflejo de la manera como los jóvenes perciben esas masculinidades equitativas. ¿Cómo logramos, por medio de una metodología de sensibilización, identificar exactamente en ellos cómo desde su cultura estaban realizando actos de micromachismos, pero que también estaban en medio de sus pensamientos algunas barreras, esas limitantes mentales que lo que provocan es finalmente la agresión? Al comprender cómo la cultura, cómo su diario vivir estaba provocando estos micromachismos, pues ellos comenzaron a generar algunos cambios en sus acciones, en su comportamiento, lo que hizo que se adaptaran nuevamente al contexto y que realizaran cambios dentro de sus hogares. Aquí en este video podemos observar los jóvenes, pero detrás de estos jóvenes están todos los docentes, está la familia y está esos cambios que ellos generaron en la familia. Cuando escuchamos al final de todo el programa los testimonios de la familia, de los papás, de las tías, de las personas que están cerca de esos jóvenes, nos damos cuenta cómo una educación basada sobre las masculinidades equitativas, una educación basada en el respeto, en la activación emocional, pues logró generar estos cambios que son positivos para toda una comunidad. Y lo mismo estamos replicándolo en los otros municipios o territorios del departamento. Aquí hemos dispuesto unas oportunidades y también unos desafíos. Claro que trabajar las masculinidades equitativas siempre generará desafíos y el principal desafío es el ser humano, las mismas mujeres, el mismo hombre, todas las personas terminan siendo una barrera y involucrándose en algunas ocasiones de una forma negativa. Entonces son los principales desafíos. decirle y ayudarle a entender al ser humano de que es necesario ver la masculinidad desde esa otra mirada. Esa mirada donde nos debemos colaborar, hombres, mujeres, donde todos debemos tener esa equidad, donde debemos comprendernos, dialogar. Y también un desafío grande fue la cultura. Lo hablo aquí en Colombia, hay muchas zonas donde está muy marcado el machismo, donde la mujer no puede realizar ciertas actividades, donde algunas veces la mujer no puede ingresar a una vida laboral. Por ejemplo, en aquellas zonas donde se cultiva el café. En muchas de estas zonas son las mujeres las que trabajan en todo el cultivo, pero quienes comercializan el café, los hombres. Entonces también allí encontramos barreras culturales. ¿Qué hemos hecho con estas situaciones? Por ejemplo, hay una zona en el municipio de Roldanillo donde ese grupo de mujeres que tenían esas fincas, que hacían parte de esos procesos del café, pues les ayudamos con conocimiento, con capacitación, con el tema de masculinidades equitativas, los integramos a todos como una familia y lograron entonces estar en todo el proceso y también en la comercialización para beneficiarse, para mejorar también la economía, no solo de ellas, sino también de la familia. Entonces, esos principales desafíos siempre son sociales y siempre son del ser humano. El tener un enfoque, una mirada diferente, eso ya es un desafío. Y tenemos grandes oportunidades. ¿Cuáles son las oportunidades? Pues todas las regiones que necesitan que fortalezcamos estos territorios. Y sobre todo la mayor oportunidad es generar políticas públicas en beneficio, en las que se pueda aplicar, hacer un seguimiento sobre estos temas para beneficio de la población vulnerable y de la población en general. Este es un testimonio de una persona de bomberos.
So this is a testimony from a firefighter.
Un proceso de formación muy bueno, me ha parecido espectacular. Todo lo que tiene que ver con la parte de la masculinidad, los mitos, todo lo que hay, lo que respecta al trato a la mujer, al maltrato, digamos, de la mujer, a no reconocer a la otra persona como tal, con su género, en su forma de ser, de vestir, de actuar, al compartir. Muy valiosa ha sido esta información, particularmente a mí me ha beneficiado enormemente, la verdad, este proyecto de formación en este campo. Ojalá se pueda extender a otros grupos poblacionales, instituciones, colegios, porque la verdad hemos reconocido, hemos detectado mediante esta capacitación que tenemos muchas falencias, tenemos muchos errores como seres humanos. Y los hombres discriminando mucho a la mujer, ¿sí? Realmente hemos cometido muchos errores. Pues, hombre, venimos de formaciones de décadas pasadas, la cual han inculcado muchas cosas que han sido erróneas, ¿sí? En cierta manera, y estamos a tiempo para corregir. Y estos son los espacios positivos para ello. Mil gracias por darnos esa información y por tratar de cambiarnos el chip, porque la verdad tenemos que cambiar.
Bueno, y el llamado que hacemos siempre a la sociedad es de que tengamos esa nueva mirada, ese enfoque de género, que tengamos la libertad para comprender de que es necesario tener equidad, de que una sociedad que sea justa, que sea inclusiva, es una sociedad que practique las masculinidades equitativas. Además, es la forma de mantener la paz. Y si queremos tener una paz permanente, una paz que dure, pues debemos también tener esa capacidad para aceptar a los demás. Y por medio de este programa de masculinidades equitativas, logramos esa sensibilidad de realizar un cambio y de querer con una buena convivencia. Aquí tenemos una fotografía sobre el trabajo que se ha realizado con las fuerzas del IMPEC, con grupos especiales. Y bueno, una palabra que quise dejar al final, si unimos las fuerzas, por una sociedad justa e inclusiva en Colombia y en el mundo,
if
pues
strengthens are
lograremos
joined
así la paz.
for
Es
a
necesario
for a just
que
society and
tengamos todos
inclusive
esa
in
nueva
Colombia and the
visión,
world.
que practiquemos las masculinidades equitativas y que siendo un tema tan general en medio del mundo, pues es un tema que
So
es
it's
muy
important that
sensible
you know
y
that it's a
que
very
en muy
sensible
pocas
topic
ocasiones
and
nos
that is very
atrevemos
general
a
around
hablarlo
the
en
world,
público, que
and
aunque
we
defendamos
sometimes
los
we're not
derechos y
able to
hablemos
talk
sobre
about
los
this in public,
derechos
and even
de
though we
las
respect
mujeres,
the
pues
rights of
también
women,
es necesario hablar
it's
que dentro de
necessary
ese
that
derecho tenemos el
inside the
derecho
right
de
we
ser
have the right
comprendidas en los
to
roles
be
también
understood in
y que
different
de ese
roles,
trabajo es muy
and
importante
that
la
that work is
compañía
very
de los
important.
demás, que no lo hacemos solas, lo hacemos todos. Ese era el tema que quería
So this
traerles a
was the
ustedes
topic
hoy, masculinidades
I wanted to
equitativas.
talk about
Muchas
today.
gracias por su atención.
Equitable masculinity. Thank you so much for your attention.
Now we continue with the Dr. Laura Nerinkindi. She's going to talk us
Ahora
in a
continuamos
virtual
con la
mode.
doctora Laura Nerinkindi.
So
Ella
there's
estará hablando
up here
virtualmente.
in the screen. Dr. Laura, can you hear me? Laura.
Hello, can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you so much. I'll just try and share my presentation. But in the meantime, I'd like to say hello to especially our President Carolina, our hosts, the beautiful sisters in Colombia, in Cali, and all the FIDANs who have flown in from all over the world to be with us today, and for all the FIDANs who are joining us online. It's a pleasure to be here online. I wish I could have been with you, but there were factors beyond my control that prevented me from joining you, but I'm with you in spirit, and I've really appreciated listening to my sisters. I'd like to share my screen, but it may not be visible. So if in case you're not able to see what I'm sharing, I'll proceed without sharing the screen because I don't see the slide showing from my side. I would like to build onto what the esteemed panelists have been talking about, and it was very, very interesting to follow the discussions. I wanted to start by explaining my understanding of what masculinities mean, and they refer to the various ways in which societies and cultures define and express what it means to be male. And even within the same countries, same country, masculinities and the understanding of what it is to be masculine can vary from region to region based on the cultural context, the social class, the race and ethnicity, and historical context. And growing up, it was not strange to hear, boys, for example, being told, don't behave like a girl in one culture, and yet it is acceptable in another culture. So there are several types of masculinities, and I heard the previous speakers talking about those several types, so I'll not repeat myself. But the one that I wanted to flag, the hegemonic masculinity, it is the most socially prized way to perform masculinity. This is the type of masculinity that is upheld by patriarchal societies, and it believes in men having power over women. So this is what I will be focusing on today. Now, there are two critical concepts. This behavior can be harmful. For example, we've heard about male aggression, hypermasculinity, male dominance, and emotional repression, even of men being asked to repress certain traits that are seen as female. For example, if a man is emotional, then it may be misunderstood as him being female. If a man is gentle, it may be misunderstood as him being soft. So these are the toxic masculinities that we're talking about. And also, I want to focus on a second concept, that one of positive role models, positive masculinity, the need for us to promote men and boys who embody positive traits and serve as role models for younger generation. And I would like to explain maybe what is the standard that we are aspiring to. For those of us who are very well acquainted with the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, that is CEDAW, we know the famous Article 5. Article 5 requires states to take, it actually says that all states must take measures to modify the social and cultural patterns of the conduct of men and women with a view to achieving the elimination of 1, prejudices, and 2, customs and all other practices, which are based on the idea of the inferiority or the superiority of either of the sexes, or based on stereotyped roles for men and women. So Article 5 really envisages that any behavior where one sex is deemed to be inferior or superior to the other is really against gender equality. And this is where the concept also of masculinities comes in, especially the toxic masculinities and the hegemonic patriarchal masculinities that I referred to, where men are seen as, the superior model that, all young boys should aspire to, and girls are groomed to be the inferior model of humanity and encouraged to submit to those roles. So the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action of 1995 also touched on this. It talked about, it encouraged member states to move towards certain models of gender equality that are based actually on substantive equality for women and men, boys and girls. It talks about the need for shared work and parental responsibilities. And as a result, if parental responsibilities and work is shared, women's participation in public life would increase. It talks about equal relationships and decision-making between men and women in matters of sexual relations and reproduction, what we nowadays call sexual and reproductive health, because we know that women's maternal functions, women's sexual and reproductive health rights can suppress the ability of women to achieve or take benefit from same opportunities as men and boys and girls. The Beijing Declaration also talks about shared responsibilities between boys and girls, and this is very important because the grooming happens from the earliest. The social constructions of gender happen from when we are children, babies actually almost. The babies wear pink and the boys wear girls, and then the girls do this and the boys do that, and then you find that the boys are given more priority over girls. So the Beijing Declaration talked about the need for boys and girls for boys to have the necessary skills to take care of their own domestic needs and to share responsibility for their household, which is usually reserved for girls, and also to care for dependents. This is usually also reserved for girls. Then lastly, the Beijing Declaration talks about shared power and responsibility between women and men. First of all, in the home, secondly, in the workplace, and thirdly, in the wider national and international. So Beijing Declaration is actually talking about women and men, gender equality between women and men in the private sphere, in the communal sphere, and in the public sphere. And this is the standard that we aspire to. As we talk about new masculinities, what is it that we really want to see? The concept of new masculinities reflects an evolving understanding of gender roles and expectations for men in a contemporary society. The women are understood to be masculine now may not be what our grandfathers were understood to be masculine. Now, this paradigm shift that we want to see of new masculinity, new positive masculinities, it seeks to challenge traditional notions of masculinity that are often associated with dominance and rigid gender roles. Men do this and women do that. Boys do this and boys do that. Instead, desired new masculinities promote more inclusive and equitable expressions of manhood. And I was very pleased to hear the former speakers talk about that. The United Nations has talked about men's accountability for gender equality. Gender equality is pushed a lot by women and women's rights organizations and their representatives. But there is an increasing lens being applied to say men should also be accountable for promoting gender equality. It's almost like a form of reparations, if you wish. Men's accountability should be performed at 3 levels: the personal, interpersonal, and institutional. And I will explain briefly. Personal accountability involves men addressing their own practices. You begin by looking at yourself, your own unconscious biases, your own role in promoting gender inequality or eliminating gender inequality, and to ensure that it's important for men to ensure that their behavior reflects human rights standards, whether at the national, regional, or international level. From the interpersonal or relational accountability, this requires men to be involved in building strategies for gender equitable dynamics and processes between men and women. So, for example, if a man is in the private sector or corporate or public sector, you know, what is his own role in upholding standards, in upholding rules that promote gender equality? And I'll give you examples. Then lastly, institutional accountability that involves structures of consultation and collaboration with men's groups and other actors concerned with gender justice and other forms of social injustice. I wanted to give you 4 quick examples of where these new masculinities are working, and they will reflect the personal, the interpersonal, and also the institutional. So men as allies in the workplace, and I'm sure you've heard about allyship. In a corporate setting, I'm telling you now stories. I love telling stories. It's a very African tradition, and it helps us to really relate to what we're talking about. In one corporate setting, a male manager noticed that women on his team were often interrupted in meetings. So he decided to implement a no interruption rule and actively encouraged his male colleagues to listen more and give space to women to share their ideas. Not only did this improve the team dynamics, but it led to more innovative solutions because women have brilliant ideas if they're given a chance to shine. So you can imagine if a man takes personal responsibility in the workplace, also to put in place, for example, rules against sexual harassment, rules on maternity and paternity leave. This is the ideal world that we would like to see evolve more and more. Then at the communal level, another initiative called the Fatherhood Initiative is an interesting example of new masculinities that are in. A community organization launched a campaign encouraging fathers to take paternity leave. In many countries where fathers are encouraged to take paternity leave, they usually don't spend it at home or with the new baby. And some even choose not to take paternity leave because it's child raising is seen as a woman's job, especially the younger the baby is. So one man decided to tell his positive experiences, and other men supporting this inspired other fathers in the community to advocate for equal parenting responsibilities and to foster a culture that values both the mother and father's contributions. Two more short good practices. I'd like to talk about men in feminist movements. There has been a proliferation of women in feminist movements, and for good reason. We should advocate for ourselves. We know our problems best. We are the primary and expert informants of what women want. But in the spirit of allyship, in this story, a group of men decided to participate in a local women's march, not just as supporters, but as advocates for women's rights. I have seen a funny meme where, not meme, but a funny video where men are wearing red heels on Women's Day alongside women to walk in the women's shoes, you know, to show the world that if you walk in women's shoes, maybe you'll understand them better. But in this story, the men who decided to participate in the march also held workshops discussing toxic masculinity and how it affects both men and women. Their involvement helped to bridge gaps between the women and men and encouraged more men to engage in conversations about equality. Then lastly, in education and awareness, a male teacher introduced a program in his school that focused on gender equality, discussing issues like consent and respect with his students. Now, by addressing these topics openly, he empowered young boys to challenge stereotypes and support their female peers. This fostered a more inclusive environment. So in closing, I think it's very important for us to note that gender equality is a human right. It is embedded in all the major conventions, whether at international or regional level. And male engagement in promoting gender equality there has been a deficit. And so promoting these positive cultures and values is not only a duty of women, but a duty of men, and should be embedded. The behavioral change cannot be enforced through laws and policies, but rather through constructive dialogues across the genders. In a spirit of allyship, recognizing that the best approach is when men and women both address these issues of gender inequality. Gender inequality, as we recognize it, is a result of deeply entrenched systemic discrimination. This is based on unequal power relations, and so they must be transformed. And the engagement of men and boys in achieving gender equality is critical. Both men and boys have a responsibility and a role alongside women and girls. I thank you so much for your kind attention, and I look forward to further discussions on this issue. Thank you.
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta?
¿Me permite que en español o en English? Ah, ya, preferible para Cauca, ¿ya? Para el Valle Cauca. Ya. Very interesting of the lady by virtual, but in Spanish.
Muy interesante la virtualidad.
From Colombia.
Pero but in Spanish for women from Colombia. I'm from Peru, and I know a lot.
Y también he viajado mucho. Pero
I've traveled a lot.
Lo que me ha llamado la atención es que las estadísticas de Colombia que antes eran muy importantes en cuanto a la igualdad de hombres y mujeres y el respeto. Y me llamó la atención también cuando se publicó la Constitución del año 91 por la equidad, la igualdad,
Constitution of
cómo
91 was
eligen los
published
cargos, etcétera.
because
Pero también he
there was a lot
visto
of
en las
equality.
páginas de los delitos
But I have
lamentables
also
casos de
seen
niños y niñas,
many
sobre todo
different
muchos
violent
menores de edad
cases
maltratados. Entonces yo quisiera
for
preguntar si
kids.
alguna colega
So
de
I wanted to
acá, de
ask
Cali o de
if
Colombia
any
quisiera
if any
responder
lawyer from here
si son
wanted to
resueltos esos
answer
casos de
if
acuerdo a
all those
ley
cases
o hay casos de
are
adaptación
solved
o de
according to the
recuperación,
law or there are
porque niños
different
maltratados
causes
es evitarles ya un futuro, ¿no?
to prevent,
Entonces pienso que debe
to
haber
have
un
bad
proceso
stuff in the future of the kids.
o reeducativo para
So
que
I
puedan
would like to
recuperar sus
ask if there is a
valores y la
re-education process for
para
these kids
continuar
that
como
suffer
grandes
violence.
ciudadanos, porque Colombia siempre ha tenido
Because
grandes
Colombia has
personajes,
always
como
had
decía
different
Márquez, Isaacs,
big
tanta gente notable,
personalities
aparte de los
like
patriotas,
Garcia
pero
Marquez
sobre todo
and
autores
Isaacs,
literarios de
but
gran
also
pluma.
literary
Entonces
artists.
pienso que la ciudadanía también
So
es así,
I think
apta al
everybody
bien,
is just
al
like that,
desarrollo. Entonces, para un
open to
desarrollo
development.
pleno, tiene que haber leyes
So
seguramente
if you want a good development, there have to be laws
cuando hay casos de
that
esta
make sure
naturaleza contra toda
that these
justicia,
cases are not
que haya una
left in the
solución.
air,
En eso quisiera que me
and
informaran
that there is a solution
si
found for
se ha
these cases
progresado
of violence
o
against
si en
against
realidad
kids and stuff.
todavía están discutiendo, debatiendo en el Congreso, porque hay casos pues que realmente
So I'd like to
llaman
know
la
if
atención. Y
if they
como
have like
peruana
usually been
y
resolved,
americana,
or
pienso
if this is
que
still
los
being
países que han
discussed in
tenido
Congress.
cierto desarrollo y avance tendrían que ir hacia adelante siempre.
So
Entonces,
a
me
country
llamaba
like
la
Colombia,
atención
which
esas
has had
situaciones
this a lot
y
of
quisiera
advancement,
que quizás las colegas
should
puedan
always go forward.
refrescarme, ¿no?
So I really would like to know the answer to that question.
Bueno, inicialmente quiero contarles que en
Initially,
Colombia
I want
sí
to
hay
tell you
leyes.
that in Colombia
Nosotros
there are
tenemos
laws.
leyes
We have laws
realmente
that really
dedicadas a la protección de los
that really are
de los
dedicated
niños,
to
de
the
las
protection of
niñas,
children
de las mujeres.
and women.
Efectivamente, como usted lo dice,
Effectively,
tenemos una
like you say,
constitución muy
we do
garantista.
have a
Sin
big
embargo,
constitution,
nuestro mayor problema
but
es
our
la
biggest
eficacia de la
problem
misma ley.
is
¿Por qué? Porque pues
efficacy
efectivamente,
of the
¿qué
law.
pasa? Que las personas
Because
cometen los delitos y
people
los
commit
procesos
the
terminan
crimes
siendo
and the processes
mal
end
llevados
up
por
being
parte de las mismas
taken care
autoridades
wrongly
y aquí
by
digamos que hay
authorities, and here
hay un beneficio que
there
es
is
cuando
a
no se toman las
benefit
decisiones
when the
judiciales en el tiempo, pues
judicial
precluyen, digámoslo así,
laws
es decir,
are not
se
taken
vencen los términos
in time,
y
so
las
the
personas
terms are
salen
over,
libres.
so people will
Entonces
do
no es de
crime.
ley, sino es de la forma como efectivamente
So,
el mismo aparato
there needs
judicial,
to
el
be
mismo aparato
improvement in the
investigador
times
hacen
of all the
o
processes
utilizan
being
la
taken
ley
care
y
of,
que la hagan
so that
cumplir.
these people that commit
Realmente
crimes
nuestros
don't
últimos
actually get
casos
free
han sido
because their
una
terms
evidencia
ended.
de eso, y es que normalmente las personas que afectan los derechos de las
Normally,
mujeres
the people
y de
who
los niños
affect the
son
rights
personas que han
of
tenido
women and
procesos,
children
pero que son
are
procesos
people
que
who have
han
had
finalizado
processes
no
before,
como debe ser
but
con una ley,
these
con una
processes
pena,
have ended
sino han finalizado
wrongly
antes y ellos
because
han
the
quedado en
terms have
libertad.
ended and they
Entonces,
just
digamos
became
que
free.
ese es como
So
el
we
mayor
can say
inconveniente
that
que
this is
tenemos,
the
no es
biggest
de leyes,
inconvenience that we
sino
have.
es de la
It's
propia
not about the
aplicación.
laws, but it's
Por
the
otro lado,
application
yo
of the
creo que de
laws.
alguna manera lo que ahora se pretende hacer desde las mismas entidades públicas
Now,
es
we
concientizar
pretend that the
no
entities
solo a
give
las mujeres
conscience
sobre la
not
protección
only
de
to
sus
women,
derechos, sino
but
también
also to
a los hombres,
the
y
men.
por eso es este tema de las
And that's
masculinidades,
why we
para
talk
que
about this
efectivamente
topic,
ellos tomen
so
una
that men
conciencia
take
desde el colegio de que
consciousness from
hay una
school,
igualdad, pero
that there
también hay
is
una protección adicional
equality,
para
but
las
there is also
mujeres, para los
protection for
niños y
women
demás.
and children.
Y obviamente, yo creo que esta es una
And
conclusión
of
muy
course,
personal,
this
es
is a very
que
personal conclusion,
considero que
but I
las
consider
penas en Colombia no son
that
efectivas,
the times
porque
of
realmente a pesar
of
de que
the
nuestra Constitución dice que la pena tiene una función resocializadora, pues efectivamente
So of
las
course the
personas que
Constitution
cometen delitos,
says that
por
when
decirlo atroces,
criminals are in jail,
contra los niños,
there
contra las
need to
niñas y
be
contra las
a
mujeres, pues
restitution of these people.
efectivamente no, pues no se resocializan, sino
But
que
usually
usualmente
the people
salen de
who
las
go to
cárceles a
jail
seguir delinquiendo.
and they committed these crimes before, they don't actually get better and they just get out and continue
Bueno,
committing these
adicional a lo que
crimes.
dice la doctora Lady, también es importante
Additional to what
reconocer que
Dr.
se
Lady
está
says,
trabajando
it's
por el
important to recognize
fortalecimiento del
that we're
acceso a la
working
justicia, para
for
que la
the,
víctima tenga
for
una
the
atención
strengthening of the
integral,
justice,
ya sea con niños, niñas, adolescentes
so
o
that
mujeres.
society
Estamos creando
understands
mecanismos para fortalecer el acceso a la
we
justicia.
create mechanisms
Desde
to
luego
access
es una
justice.
sumatoria de procesos. Y desde la parte misional o institucional,
need
pues
to
se
add up
está
these processes
realizando el esfuerzo,
from the
sumado a las
institutional and
leyes de la
missional
República que siempre van
ways,
en la garantía y la
together
protección
with
de
the
los
laws of
derechos
the
de los
Republic
niños
that
y las
always go
niñas.
together with the
Estamos
protection of the
trabajando
rights of women and
grandemente en
children.
ello.
So we're highly working on it.
Me regalan un momentico que nuestro compañero quiere intervenir. No sé, aquí
Can I please
vamos a
have
dar la palabra.
a few
Ya te la
minutes
damos.
so that our partner talks?
Muchísimas gracias, mujeres del mundo, por
Thank you so much, women of the world,
permitirme,
for allowing
en
me,
calidad de hombre que acompaña a una
as a
mujer
man,
en este evento, expresar mi
to
opinión
express
sobre
my
lo que he escuchado muy
opinion about what I
atentamente.
heard.
Lo primero,
First of
aplaudo
all, I
el
applaud
espíritu de este
the
panel,
spirit
que
of
es
this
construir
panel,
puentes.
which is
Yo creo que
to
por allí
construct
es
bridges,
el camino.
and I think this
Yo
is the correct way.
tengo un
I
grupo de
have
hombres
a group of
que se
men
llama
that's called
Fraternidad de la Lágrima Fácil.
Fraternity of the Easy
Porque
Tear,
nuestro lema es,
because
los hombres sí
our
lloramos
slogan is
y además
men
nos
cry,
gusta.
and
Y
we like,
tocamos temas complicados, por ejemplo,
and
la
we
relación
speak
con
about
nuestros
difficult
padres.
topics,
Y es
like the
fácil
relationship
quebrarse,
with our
llorar,
parents,
y entre hombres nos abrazamos.
and we
Entonces, los
hug
círculos
between
masculinos de la
all
palabra
men.
son una realidad que incluso, como en mi caso, se
So
practica
actually
de manera
these
muy
kinds
anónima.
of groups
Y
are a
para
reality.
terminar, felicito
I want
la
to congratulate
política en el Valle del
the
Cauca
politics
de nuevo,
of
que
our
ha pasado
governor
del discurso a la acción en
that
algo
has
como es
come
la
from
ética del
speaking
cuidado
to actually
en programas
action
como ese. Muchas gracias.
to enforce problems like that.
Thank you very much. One
Muchas
more
gracias.
time, Sotoya Amakri, FIDA Nigeria. I'd
Soy
like
de
to
Nigeria
thank the panel.
y quiero agradecer a
It
los
was a very
panelistas.
interesting session.
Fue una sesión muy interesante.
Mine is to also thank our speaker who joined us virtually. I learned two things which I found very interesting. You had talked about the fact that we should encourage
Y
positive
hablamos
masculinity and reject
del
toxic
hecho de que tenemos
masculinity.
que
So coming from
implementar.
that point that you made, I'd like to then come back to our earlier presenter
Me gustaría-
when you were showing us the good work and the progress that is being made
gustaría-
in your jurisdiction with respect to equitable masculinity. But something was missing at the time when the video was being rolled.
Cuando el video estaba siendo
I could
reproducido,
tell, you know, I was presuming that you were showing steps that you take, you know, to encourage equitable masculinity. However, the translator was not able to tell us what was going on. So I'd like for you to just briefly, if someone can, I mean, for those of us who don't understand Spanish, to please tell us in English, what were those key steps that you took, you know, to encourage positive masculinity, so that we too can learn and take to our own jurisdictions, you know, because we seem to have the same problem, you know, with misogyny in men and, you know, the oppression of women generally. Thank you very much.
Bueno, lo que estamos realizando en medio de los
Okay, what
colegios y
we're
los
saying
círculos de
among
hombres es una
schools
metodología
and
de
men's circle is a
sensibilización,
methodology
donde
of
tocamos
sensibilization
temas que son
where
tan
we talk
masculinos y
about
tan cotidianos, como por
topics
ejemplo
very
el
masculine
cómo le hablan
and everyday
en su
thing
casa a
on
las
how they
mujeres,
talk
el
about,
quién
to
lava la
women,
ropa,
who
quién
watches
se
the
encarga de
clothes,
algunos oficios de la
who
casa, quién
cleans the
saca a pasear
house,
el perro,
who walks the
y
dogs,
tal vez en
and
medio de esos
maybe
espacios
among these
se
spaces
generen cuestionamientos
there could be a
sobre
generation of
cómo le
questioning
habla o con qué
on
derecho
how
siente que está gritando a su
on
pareja,
how you
que le
talk to
está
your
dando
partner
unas
or
palabras que
or
son
your
muy
mother,
fuertes,
and
y
maybe
con qué
expressing
derecho
strong
se
words
siente o qué derecho ha
and what
adquirido
right he
para
thinks he
hacerle
has
daño también.
so that he
Son
can
espacios
hurt
donde llegan
women.
esos temas que
So
son
these
tan
spaces
sensibles
are
y
very
que por medio de
sensible
una
because these
metodología que les
topics
hace el seguimiento y
need a
que corrige
methodology
esas
that needs to
acciones,
follow these
ellos
actions,
logran
and
identificar
they
si hay
actually
fallas o no
get
en
to
su
identify
comportamiento.
if there are
Pero son ellos los que
faults
toman la
in their
iniciativa de
behavior,
comprender si lo
but
están haciendo
they are
bien
the
o no
ones
dentro
who
de las
actually
normas
understand
sociales.
if
Y
they are
no solo
doing
nos
the
quedamos en las
work
normas
right or
sociales, sino
not.
que vamos más
It's not
allá,
only
a
social
esa parte
norms, but also
psicológica,
the
a esa parte
psychological
donde
part,
hay que cambiar unos estereotipos
and
de
this part where
género,
we have to
donde hay que
change the
cambiar unos
stereotypes of gender,
imaginarios
we
sociales,
have to
donde
change
nos
the social
adentramos en
imaginaries,
la
and we
cultura,
have to
en
get
el
inside of the
pensamiento, en
culture
las acciones de
and the
esas
thinking
comunidades
and the
para
actions
lograr
of these
generar ese
communities
cambio.
to
Pero
generate
son
these
ellos
changes.
mismos los que
But
por
it's
medio de ese
them,
proceso, en
it's
esa
them
metodología, van
that with
aflorando,
this
van
process
sacando esos cambios
actually
y
get
van
these changes
realizando
done,
acciones
and they
de
start
aceptación o
making
de afirmación
these actions
sobre
of
qué son las masculinidades
acceptation
equitativas o no,
about
sobre
what
si es
equitable
necesario esos
masculinity
cambios
is
o
or
no.
not, about
Esa es
if
la meta que estamos buscando.
necessary or not.
Y desde luego, cada vez que
And of course,
llegamos a un
every
nuevo
time we
círculo
go
de
to a
hombres,
new
la
place
tenemos que
where
modificar
males
o
are, we have to
adaptar a
modify
esa
it
comunidad.
depending
Porque
on
no
the
es igual,
community.
ustedes vieron en el
Because it's
video
not the
un
same
grupo
to
de
have a group of
estudiantes
students
a un grupo
or
de
to have a group
bomberos,
of
a un grupo de
firefighters or
del
a group
IMPEC,
of
que son
IMPEC,
aquellas
which is
personas
the
que
guards that
custodian
take care of the
a las
criminals
personas que
in jail.
están que no tienen libertad. Son grupos que socialmente son muy
So these are
diferentes
groups
y
that are
cada vez que
socially very
llegamos a ellos
different, and
debemos
every time we
modificar
get to
esa
them, we have to
metodología,
modify the
logrando
methodology,
así que ellos se sientan
being
identificados.
able
Adicional
that
a
they feel
esto,
identified,
también
but this,
cerca de ellos hay mujeres.
additionally, around
Entonces
them there are women.
tenemos que realizar
So
este
we need
tema de
to
masculinidades
make
equitativas con
this
mujeres,
topic
porque aunque
of
parece tan
equitable masculinity
común
with
de que
women
lo
as well,
entendamos, no
because
todas
it
las
think-
mujeres
like it
entienden que
seems
son las
like-
masculinidades
it seems
equitativas
like
y no
very
están
easy to
dispuestas
understand
también
what
a
it is,
ceder.
but
Esto
not all
por
of them
cultura,
actually,
esto por pensamiento
want
o
to take the
simplemente
step
por bloqueos
to-
psicológicos que han ejercido
to
en
get
su
to it.
crianza y
So
que
not
hace
only
que tenga esas
because
barreras
cultural stages, but
en
also
su
psychological
comportamiento.
blocks and stuff.
Entonces también desarrollamos esa metodología que
do
es para las
develop this
mujeres
methodology
y
for
que de
women,
acuerdo a
and
los
according
pensamientos
to
o a las
thoughts
acciones de esas
and
mujeres
actions
también
of
las
these women,
modificamos y la
we
ponemos en
modify them
práctica.
and we practice it.
Nosotros tenemos en las redes sociales
We
estos
have in
videos
social network
para
these
que
videos
ustedes
so that you
puedan
can watch them.
ingresar allí. Gracias por la
Thank you so
sugerencia de
much
hacer
for
la
the-
traducción al inglés. La estaremos
for the-
realizando para que sea un tema más
We're actually going to
universal
have the
y que
translation in
ustedes
English of
también
these
puedan
videos
disfrutar
so that
plenamente de
everybody
los
can access
detalles
them
de todo el
and you
video.
can see the details of them.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Does anyone have another question?
¿Alguien tiene alguna otra pregunta?
Well, thank you very much for attending the
Muchas
first
gracias
day
por
of
venir al primer
the
día
academic agenda
de la agenda
of
académica
the 38ª
de
FIDA
la
2024
convención número
convention.
38 del 2024.
And thank you very much,
Y muchas
Dr.
gracias,
Laura,
doctora Laura,
for your participation in this event.
por tu participación en este evento.
A big applause, please.
Un gran aplauso, por favor.
Well, we invite you to take a
Bueno, los
snack
invitamos a tomar
in the back part of
un
the
aperitivo en la
auditorium,
parte de atrás del
and
auditorio.
then
Y después,
at 6:30,
a las 6:30,
you are cordially invited to the
están
launch
invitados
of the book Ethics of Courage
al
and
lanzamiento
Maternity
del libro
from the co-authors
de los
Angela
autores
Cuevas and
Ángela Cuevas
Genevieve Bucan.
y Genevieve Bucan.
And also at 7 o'clock,
Y también
we
a las
have
7
designed a wonderful
tenemos
cultural event of the teacher
con la
Franco
compañía
Gomez.
del profesor
We are
Franco
waiting for
Gourmet.
you. Happy rest of the afternoon. Thank you for
Esperamos que estén
listening.
muy bien. Hasta luego.
Thank you for watching our streaming persons. We'll see you on Thursday to continue this wonderful event.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos.
On
Nos
Thursday.
vemos el jueves para continuar este evento.